Night fell upon the ruined city, and an emergency alert blared. From the radio in the broken car, an announcement blared. A pack of level 4 monsters, Belto, had appeared at Seodaemon intersection. The dispatch team consisted of level 2 Awakener, Spear Mage, Kim Sang-hoo, and the Zenkaku squad, fighting together. The gigantic Belto were wreaking havoc on the streets. Facing them was Kim Sang-hoo, charging alone into the monster encircle. The monsters raised their long necks, preparing for a sonic attack. Their piercing screams echoed throughout the area. Kim Sang-hoo grimaced in annoyance. With a dozen of these, my eardrums are about to burst, he roared, unleashing a stream of purple lightning energy from his spear. The attack shot straight into a Belto, but it seemed insufficient to wipe out the entire pack. Suddenly, Kim Sang-hoo uttered a name in astonishment. Ra? The monsters simultaneously turned towards a dazzling light source that had just appeared. A colossal pillar of light descended, engulfing the entire pack of Belto in an instant. Kim Sang-hoo was stunned, unable to believe his eyes. What? His female comrade appeared, exclaiming in admiration, "Captain, just as expected from you, taking down so many Belto with a single blow." He coldly denied. "It wasn't me. I'm not a dealer specializing in wide-area attacks like the Blade Queen." They looked at each other, confusion clearly visible on their faces. "Were there any other Awakener units dispatched here besides us?" "No, I haven't heard anything," Kim Sang-hoo muttered. "Strange. As far as I know, no one in this entire country possesses this level of power." The girl pointed out the strangest thing. "They hunted them but left behind the magic stones? That's the most valuable part." "Damn it, what the hell is going on?" Kim Sang-hoo mused. "Such clean cuts, definitely an Awakener, at least A-rank power, and they vanished without a trace. What was their objective?" He ordered, "For now, collect the magic stones and contact headquarters to call in the corpse disposal team." The female warrior replied, "Understood, Captain." Suddenly, Kim Sang-hoo paused as if he had discovered something. His gaze was drawn to a nearby building, a restaurant with a name that couldn't be simpler. "Restaurant," he muttered. "If that strange fellow who only carved out the Belto's breast meat had been careless, their corpses could have ended up over here. The owner is truly lucky." Kim Sang-hoo turned away, but then an idea struck him. "Let's go. I suddenly feel like having a drink." The scene shifted to two small birds chirping on the roof of a car. In a nearby alley, a black-haired young man was walking down the stairs, running a hand through his hair. He quickly wiped the sweat from his face with a towel. The young man headed straight for the main door of the very restaurant that Kim Sang-hoo had just noticed. Inside, he leisurely turned on an old record player. Then he placed a pan on the stove, preparing his meal. His gaze focused on a large slab of meat, today's main ingredient. He gently placed his hand on the monster meat, next to sprigs of rosemary and fresh garlic. The young man stood with his hands on his hips, silently admiring his handiwork. He wondered, "Did I end up cutting a bit too much Belto meat?" he thought to himself. "By now, the Belto corpses must have been cleared away. Or maybe I should make some jerky." Suddenly, a knock on the door sounded along with an unfamiliar voice. "Is Kang Cheol-ho here?" A man in a suit stood at the door. "I'm from the Awakener Association. Are you Kang Cheol-ho?" The young man calmly replied. "Yes," the association member began. "The thing is, a pack of Belto attacked this area earlier. Fortunately, they were dealt with quickly, but I'm sure you were quite startled." In response to the association employee's inquiry, Kang Cheol-ho casually remarked that monster attacks were an everyday occurrence. The employee sighed in relief. "Fortunately, this area is sparsely populated, so the damage was negligible." Suddenly, he paused, seemingly drawn in by an unexpected aroma. "Ah," the employee took a deep breath. "What a wonderful smell." Kang Cheol-ho merely shrugged. "Well, this is a restaurant." Tormented by hunger, the employee immediately asked for breakfast, and Kang Cheol-ho happily agreed. The doorbell chimed as the employee stepped inside, and he couldn't help but be surprised by the interior space. He exclaimed in astonishment, "This place is like a restaurant from a movie, from before the gates appeared." When asked about the menu, Kang Cheol-ho walked into the kitchen, explaining, "We don't have a menu. The dishes depend on the ingredients available each day." "So, is there a special dish?" the employee asked curiously, while Kang Cheol-ho replied mysteriously, "You could say that." With an enigmatic smile, he announced, "Today's menu is Belto steak." The association employee froze, stammering in reply. Belto? In his mind, the image of Spear Mage Kim Sang-hoo bravely taking down the monster pack earlier appeared. Kang Cheol-ho casually confirmed while cooking, "That's right, thanks to them, I got a lot of fresh, delicious Belto meat." Excited by the unique dish, the employee was also nervously wondering if he had enough money to pay. Under the kitchen lights, Kang Cheol-ho skillfully sliced the monster meat with professional precision. As the steaks were being seasoned, a distant memory suddenly flooded back. 30 years ago, a younger Kang Cheol-ho appeared, his youthful face tinged with panic and fear. "When I woke up," his voice echoed in the flashback, "I had been summoned to another world, Before the young man's eyes back then was a brutal battle for survival, facing roaring dragons and endless hordes of monsters. After gaining power that surpassed even dragons, I finally defeated the Demon King and claimed the ultimate victory. And by a stroke of fate, I was able to return to Earth, but the soul I once knew was no more. During the 30 years I was summoned to another world, I fought the Demon King and monsters until I was sick of it. I mastered their characteristics and weaknesses, and now I can deal with them perfectly. But upon returning and seeing everyone protecting the world in their own way, I wondered if I needed to intervene again. The era has become like this. It's done. The Belto steak was served, astonishing the association employee. Wow, this dish, he thought to himself. I only planned to grab a quick bite and leave, but this is unbelievable. Let's try a bite. The explosive deliciousness made him open his eyes wide in shock. This is so juicy, he exclaimed, feeling all his morning stress melt away. Ah, this isn't the time to think, he told himself, hastily enjoying the meal. He ate heartily, deciding to go all out today. Sir, could I get another Belto steak? He asked after clearing his plate, and Kang Cheol-ho silently agreed. Phew, that was delicious. The employee sighed contentedly, then called out, "The bill, please." Kang Cheol-ho replied, "I don't charge first-time customers," which stunned the employee. No way. It was so good. The customer from the association smiled contentedly. Thanks to you, all my fatigue today has vanished. I'll be visiting often, so I want to pay. Kang Cheol-ho simply smiled gently in response to the customer's enthusiasm. The employee placed a $10 bill on the table. Then, just $10. Is that all right? On his way out, Jae-woo Choi turned back. Thanks for the meal. Oh, by the way, he sincerely advised, please be careful. These days, ordinary people like us have it tough. If monsters appear, evacuate immediately. Handing over his business card, he said, "This is my card. This place is still very dangerous." The business card read, Jae-woo Choi, Patrol Unit. "If anything happens, please call me." Kang Cheol-ho muttered as the customer left. A difficult era for non-awakeners, huh? He thought to himself. Not a bad person. Live long, Mr. Civil Servant. After seeing off the customer, Kang Cheol-ho began preparing his own dinner. He took a bite and nodded. Just as expected. Truly delicious. Somewhere, in a dilapidated room, a mechanical owl silently observed. Kang Cheol-ho stretched, feeling that a day of business had ended smoothly. I'll have a drink and then go inside. He looked at the colorful eggs. Maybe I'll make some snacks with the Belto eggs I bought earlier? Suddenly, the doorbell rang, making him turn around. A stranger with fiery red hair walked in, his eyes full of purpose. There you are. Kang Cheol-ho narrowed his eyes at the uninvited guest. The red-haired man growled, his eyes flashing with anger. I've come to get my things back. Memories from a few hours ago flooded back, when he was at the Seodaemon traditional market. Amidst the bustling crowd, he recalled why this world had to rely on monsters for survival. Kang Cheol-ho mused that even though artificial food was sufficient, monster ingredients remained a renowned commodity. Thanks to this, the Seodaemon monster market became increasingly bustling, where he was reminiscing about his shopping trip. The vendor admitted that the newly appeared Belto eggs were very difficult to distinguish from other types with the naked eye. To be sure, Kang Cheol-ho quietly activated his special ability, Detect Eye. It was a treasure stolen from the Demon King, capable of seeing through the true nature of any target. A flood of information about Belto, Ataho, and Triceratops eggs appeared, confirming their powers and characteristics. He decided to buy all the eggs he had checked, thinking to himself that he always avoided using this ability on humans to spare himself from painful truth. Suddenly, he paused when he discovered a single egg that displayed no information. Without hesitation, Kang Cheol-ho pointed at the mysterious egg and asked the vendor to get it for him. Back in the present, he cracked a Belto egg into the pan, recalling the days when eating was just a waste of time on the battlefield. He once thought a good meal was a luxury, but now, only beautiful memories of it remained. The Belto scrambled eggs were complete, a simple recipe with Belto eggs and cowhall milk. The aroma of the dish took him back to the past, to simple meals with his comrades on the smoke-filled battlefield. Kang Cheol-ho bit into a sandwich, savoring the rich taste of the eggs and the familiar soft texture. Truly delicious, he murmured to himself in the quiet space, closing his eyes to reminisce. The dear faces he could no longer meet began to appear, making him wonder if he had grown old. His thoughts returned to the mysterious egg that Detect Eye couldn't read. He knew that dragon treasures were created from their own power, so it couldn't affect its own kind. He touched the blue egg, and a bold hypothesis emerged. Could this be a dragon egg? Just as he was engrossed in thinking about what to make from the precious egg, a silhouette kicked open the door and burst in. Kang Cheol-ho turned around, facing the red-haired intruder who asked, "Is this a restaurant?" The red-haired young man growled, clenching his fist. "I've come to retrieve what's mine." He pointed directly at Kang Cheol-ho, stating firmly, "So it's here." Kang Cheol-ho's eyes glowed purple as he thought, "I can't get any information about this kid. and if he's looking for this egg, Kang Cheol-ho suddenly asked directly, "Are you a dragon?" Struck by the truth, the red-haired young man was stunned, while Kang Cheol-ho calmly remarked, "It's surprising that this world also has dragons. I had my suspicion." Rage flared, and the stranger's entire body was engulfed in flames as he yelled, "How do you know my identity?" The flames spread, burning the tabletop, and he roared, "Answer my question, human." Kang Cheol-ho calmly explained, "I have no intention of fighting. I possess an artifact called the Detect Eye, and information about dragons is the only thing I cannot see." The red-haired young man froze, his mind reeling. The Detect Eye. Why is a dragon artifact in your hands? This guy isn't a normal restaurant owner. "Take it," Kang Cheol-ho said. "I'm glad its owner has come for it. I hope you'll clean up thoroughly before you take it." The dragon's gaze suddenly fell upon the blue kitchen knife. "Azure Dragon Scale? Is that a weapon?" Kang Cheol-ho replied, "It's a knife, but it can also be a weapon. I usually use it in the kitchen." He was horrified when he recognized the scent from the cutting board. Dragon bone? Realizing his kin had been turned into kitchenware, dragon scales began to appear on his face in a fit of rage. "I cannot forgive you." A destructive energy orb was unleashed with a roar. "Die, you human vermin." Facing the attack, Kang Cheol-ho merely sighed in exasperation. A blue energy orb easily neutralized the attack, sending the dragon flying into the air, while Kang Cheol-ho nonchalantly lay on the floor. "Just as I thought, it's hard to clean up." He stood up, blue lightning enveloping his body, and coldly stated, "Dragons." A purple energy greatsword formed in his hand, his eyes flashing with a deadly glint. "Must be." Kang Cheol-ho swung the greatsword, preparing to deliver a decisive blow to the intruder. In a fit of rage, the red-haired young man roared, "Huh?" Kang Cheol-ho coldly retaliated with a devastating punch, recalling, "Beaten, until they obey," he finished, grabbing the defeated foe's face. Memories flooded back, a familiar voice from the past echoing, "I'm going to capture the Demon King. No time for trivial matters. Let's get straight to the point." The warrior in black armor, Miro Lycus, declared, "Hand over the divine artifact. If you don't cooperate, I'll defeat you and take it." Facing him was a colossal dragon, which roared, "What nonsense is this crazy human spouting?" A smaller dragon frantically interjected, "No, father, he's Miro Lycus." It clutched its head in despair. "I saw him 30 years ago. Father will surely be defeated." Miro Lycus merely glanced at the young dragon, uttering coldly, A child." The terrifying memory ended, and the red-haired young man awoke with a piercing scream. Back in reality, Kang Cheol-ho calmly sat opposite him. "You're awake. Shall we talk about the cleanup now?" He took a sip of wine, setting a condition. "After you've finished cleaning, I'll let you take your belongings." He added, his voice full of hidden meaning, "I don't like dragons, so if you don't obey, I'll have to resort to a little violence." Completely subdued, the red-haired young man reluctantly picked up the cleaning rag. While wiping the floor, he explained, "I came from the S-band continent, falling here through a spatial rift." Kang Cheol-ho mused, "No wonder those monsters looked familiar. This must also be from S-band." Then he unexpectedly revealed, "In your world, my name is Miro Lycus. Here, I am Kang Cheol-ho." The red-haired young man froze, his limbs stiff. "I knew it. He's that guy." Once the floor was spotless, Kang Cheol-ho permitted, "Good. Now you can go get your belongings." But instead of leaving, the red-haired young man turned back and questioned, "Why didn't you return my father's divine artifact after killing the Demon King?" Kang Cheol-ho immediately recognized the name, Ekmund Rex. "So you're that child from back then." He casually invited, "Come here. I stopped beating dragons 30 years ago," which only made Ekmund Rex more terrified. "Don't lie. You just beat me." When asked his age, Ekmund Rex hesitated, calculating, "I remember being a little over 50. Kang Cheol-ho sneered, "Then I'm older than you," making the young dragon bewildered. "Are you an elf?" the smug restaurant owner asked. "Am I that handsome?" Making Ekmund Rex blush in embarrassment. "Not really." But then Kang Cheol-ho suddenly became serious, his voice full of authority. "Anyway, punishment is the cure for disobedient dragon." He couldn't help but laugh at the dragon's tiptoeing manner. It's quite amusing to see a dragon having to tread lightly and speak softly because of a human. Teased, Ekmund Rex shrieked in fear, "Dragons can be scared too. You killed my kin. Are you going to kill me too?" Kang Cheol-ho calmly denied, "I've beaten a few dragons, but I've never killed one." He further explained, "Your father's divine artifact was shattered when I fought the Demon King, so it cannot be returned." Seeing that the other party was still tense, Kang Cheol-ho changed the subject, placing a bottle of wine on the table. "Do you drink?" Ekmund Rex arrogantly yelled, How could I drink with a mere human?" Yet, with just one glass, the proud dragon collapsed, completely drunk. He mumbled drunkenly, "You should be proud to drink with a dragon," making Kang Cheol-ho just give a wry smile. Looking at the blue egg on the table, he asked, "Did you lay that?" Ekman Rex drunkenly roared. I'm male. That's my younger brother. He began to recount his tragedy, about a spatial rift that suddenly appeared in the dragon's lair. Kang Cheol-ho concluded. So you became a lost soul between dimensions, and learned that he had been here for half a year. He mumbled, relating it to himself. Just like when I returned to Earth, making Ekman Rex curious. Didn't you return immediately after killing the Demon King? I had a few things to take care of, Kang Cheol-ho replied concisely, while the drunken dragon mumbled meaningfully. How interesting. Then suddenly, Ekman Rex's voice sharpened. Why is someone like you hiding here? Don't you want this world in your hands? Ekman Rex growled angrily. Humans always only know power and war, even when you've saved the world. Kang Cheol-ho replied indifferently, gently swirling his wine glass. That's true, but I'm tired of those things. I don't believe a human's words, Ekman Rex said skeptically, but Kang Cheol-ho merely replied. Then take good care of your only younger sister. Hearing that, Ekman Rex immediately changed his attitude, hugging the egg tenderly. My younger sister, she's so beautiful. But Kang Cheol-ho suddenly noticed something unusual. Ah, I told you to take good care of it. The egg in Ekman Rex's hands began to crack, emitting a warm light. From within, a pair of sparkling blue eyes opened, wondering blankly. What is this? Eyes? Through the still blurry vision of the newborn creature, Ekman Rex's image appeared first. The pure white baby dragon let out a clear cry, recognizing its kin. My younger sister, Kang Cheol-ho silently observed the unbelievable scene. A baby dragon had just been born right on his dining table. Ekman Rex happily asked, What do people usually call it? Kang Cheol-ho replied concisely while the red-haired young man was already thinking of a name. Kang Cheol-ho lifted the dragon and asked, Is it male or female? Making Ekman Rex angrily shout. That's my younger sister. Don't treat her like an animal. He curiously checked its mouth. It looks tiny but already has teeth. Are dragons omnivores? Ekman Rex proudly boasted. She's my younger sister, the cutest, right? Which even made Kang Cheol-ho smile. He gently stroked the little dragon's head, receiving a rare agreeing Ekman Rex suddenly became serious again, questioning, So now, where do you plan to take this baby dragon? Kang Cheol-ho fell silent, his gaze becoming distant. Then he suddenly smiled, looked out the shop door, and said, Let's eat a meal first, then decide. A sudden rain poured down, a desolate wind blew through, carrying old memories. Memories of a forest engulfed in a storm, where demons moved and the air reeked of blood. Memories flooded back. The last glass of wine we emptied, Miro, and the smell of blood. I am still alive. Back in reality, the baby dragon shrieked as the fork aimed for its steak. Ekman Rex awkwardly asked, Are you going home now? How much does a meal cost? Kang Cheol-ho replied casually, $10. But you can leave without paying. Is something wrong? Ekman suddenly stood up, pressing, Do you offer lodging? But only received a blunt reply. No. Slumping back into his seat, Ekman looked truly pathetic, making Kang Cheol-ho involuntarily ponder the loneliness of a lost dragon. Moved by the understanding, Ekman slammed a gigantic magic stone onto the table. I'll give you this. That's a level 4 magic stone, very valuable even in this world, the dragon young man explained. Kang Cheol-ho couldn't help but laugh, making Ekman Rex furious. Why are you laughing? Meanwhile, the baby dragon cried out for food again. Kang Cheol-ho gently asked, Still hungry? As he fed it, he thought, surviving on Earth is truly a challenge. Even for a dragon. The image of his old comrade reappeared. Kang Cheol-ho said bitterly, Miro, I guess I won't be able to see her again. Making a decision, he said to Ekman, Stay for a few days. Having someone to share secrets with adds a little joy to life. Though grateful, Ekman still felt uneasy. But I can't just rely on you like this. Understood. I'll hold on to it for now, Kang Cheol-ho said. Then enveloped the magic stone with a surge of dark energy. The black energy gathered, tearing open space and revealing a gate right in the middle of the dining room, astonishing Ekman. From within the gate, a dapper goblin in a suit stepped out, bowing respectfully. Welcome, King of the World. A goblin? Ekman Rex stammered, while Kang Cheol-ho calmly explained. That's Kasim, my subspace manager. Kang Cheol-ho coldly asked Kasim, How many magic stones do we have in the subspace? Kasim replied from the other dimension, revealing a colossal treasure, as many as grains of sand on the beach. As for the high-grade ones, there are 5 of the highest grade, and 120 high-grade ones. Kang Cheol-ho casually handed Ekman Rex's magic stone to the goblin's hand, while the dragon prince stood frozen. Ending transmission. Oh, wait, Kasim suddenly remembered something. Ekman Rex whispered in horror, realizing the unimaginable wealth of the man before him. Highest, grade magic stones like grains of sand. As Kasim prepared to bow to the king of the world, Kang Cheol-ho interrupted decisively. No, he just wanted to be a normal Kang Cheol-ho. All right, Kang Chiel-ho turned to Ekman Rex, holding the little dragon in his arms. Now I want you to help me with a few things. Outside the restaurant, a peaceful day was passing by. Inside the house, the baby dragon was sound asleep on a soft pillow. Suddenly, a violent explosion outside startled the baby dragon awake. I told you, you need to control the flame precisely. Kang Chiel-ho reprimanded Ekman Rex, who had just caused the explosion. Do it again. Start. Kang Chiel-ho commanded, and this time, a perfect flame was exhaled, enveloping the meat skewer. The meat grilled with dragon's breath was perfectly done, emitting a rich aroma. Ekman Rex curiously asked, "The sword you drew just now, it's not a normal weapon, is it?" Memories flooded back. Ekman Rex recalled that it was Rekefel's axis, a divine weapon created by the greatest dwarf artisan. Why would you use a priceless treasure for meaningless cooking? Ekman Rex questioned, but Kang Chiel-ho merely replied, "Isn't it better than hoarding them?" Faced with the simple yet devastating answer, Ekman Rex could only fall silent, secretly thinking that this person had no dragon-like aura whatsoever. Just then, a young man entered the door, cheerfully exclaiming, "Hello boss." Jae-woo Choi, a regular customer, happily greeted. "I just stopped by while on patrol." In the kitchen, Ekman Rex diligently washed a stack of dishes covered in soap suds. Jae-woo Choi took a deep breath and said contentedly, "The taste is as wonderful as ever today." He glanced at Ekman and asked Kang Chiel-ho, "It seems you've hired a new employee, haven't you?" The dragon could only reply awkwardly, "Well, something like that." Suddenly, Jae-woo Choi got straight to the point. "More importantly, a new dungeon has appeared in the underground passage between Sinchon and Seodaemon." Kang Chiel-ho listened calmly, thinking to himself, "Is that so? A dungeon is forming." He realized these dungeons were similar to the spatial rifts he had once faced. Jae-woo Choi continued his report. "We estimate its difficulty to be around level 5, so Sir Kim Sang-hoo and the Zenkaku team will be deployed in Seodaemon." He further explained that if Seodaemon was protected by the Spear Mage, then Sinchon had the Ice Witch Chaeyeon, a name that slightly surprised Kang Chiel-ho. Jae-woo Choi sighed, talking about how they had to set up a reserve team, which left the square packed with desperate job seekers. He bitterly compared the scene to an old-fashioned labor market, feeling lucky that he was just an ordinary person but had a stable job. Realizing it was late, Jae-woo Choi quickly stood up. "Oh no, it's already this late. Thanks for the meal." After the guest left, Kang Chiel-ho remarked that the Idaho grilled beef was very popular, and Ekman happily agreed. Holding the crumpled dollar bill, Kang Chiel-ho had an idea. "Maybe I should buy more Idaho meat." Soon after, he was at a butcher shop, calling out loudly, "Give me 10 june of Idaho beef tenderloin." As he requested the meat whole, he heard a loudspeaker nearby, announcing recruitment for a dungeon raid. Kang Chiel-ho's eyes were drawn to a crowd of awakened, among whom was a familiar figure in red armor. He recognized it was Kim Sang-hoo, the level 2 spear mage, who was also observing the recruitment area. Looking at the recruitment board with roles like healer and DPS, Kang Chiel-ho found everything very similar to the game systems he used to play. As the world operated like a fantasy game, harsh laws of supply and demand also formed accordingly. While support roles were highly sought after, damage dealer positions were always saturated. A desperate awakened pleaded, "Is there any room for a DPS?" but only received a cold refusal because the team was short on healers. Jae-woo Choi quietly observed, thinking to himself about the family burdens these people might be carrying. Kang Chiel-ho also witnessed the scene, his eyes becoming thoughtful. He watched Jae-woo Choi's back as he left, a thought echoing in his mind. He's a good person, just worries about others more than himself. Jae-woo Choi walked down the dimming street, his hand unconsciously slipping into his pocket. He pulled out his wallet. It didn't look like there was much inside. A heavy sigh escaped him, revealing the patrolman's own weariness. Meanwhile, Kang Chiel-ho had returned to his restaurant. He looked around the spotless kitchen, wondering, did Khan come in already? Suddenly, the sound of the door opening made him turn around. A tall, muscular man with an exhausted expression walked in and asked, "Is the shop still open?" Kang Chiel-ho silently placed a glass of water on the table for the guest, who mumbled a thank you. The guest hesitantly asked, "Do you sell ramen here?" And Kang Chiel-ho replied simply, "It's fine, wait a moment." He took down a packet of noodles, thinking about the cheap dish that hadn't changed for 3 decades. When asked the price, Kang Chiel-ho replied, $2. The guest was stunned by the unbelievable price. Then his eyes lit up. "So, can I order 5 bowls?" Kang Chiel-ho was slightly surprised by the request, but the guest insisted, "Yes, definitely. Please help me." Kang Chiel-ho's eyes flashed as he quietly activated his skill. "What is this?" Detect Eye. An information panel appeared, revealing the guest was a Shikshin, bringing back memories of an old comrade. He recalled the nature of this ability. The more one ate, the stronger their body became. The potential was limitless when eating high-level monster meat, but the price to pay in the early stages was incredibly harsh. Until strong enough to hunt monsters, The wielder of this ability was merely a weakling, and had to endure an endless, gnawing hunger, which only subsided once a certain level was reached. Realizing the guest was still struggling in that agonizing phase, Kang Cheol-ho tore open a packet of noodles and made a decision. Immediately after, an oversized bowl of ramen with fragrant grilled Idaho beef slices was placed in front of the guest. The man was stunned. This is? And only received a simple answer. My treat. Kang Cheol-ho thought to himself. In this chaotic world, good people were always the ones who suffered the most, and he wouldn't ignore it. He offered a simple reason. We treat our first customer of the day, as the man, with tears in his eyes, prepared to eat. With a sincere thank you very much, the guest took his first bite of meat. A burst of flavor exploded in his mouth, and his face immediately lit up with delight. I never imagined meat could be so rich and fragrant, he exclaimed, causing Kang Cheol-ho to subtly smirk. After that, he began to devour the remaining noodles at a terrifying speed. Not a single drop of broth was wasted as he lifted the entire bowl and slurped it dry. Holding up the gleaming empty bowl, he exclaimed contentedly, "It was wonderful." The man bowed his head, thanking Kang Cheol-ho once more, and was met with a calm nod. But then he remembered about paying, and his face changed color as he frantically discovered his pocket was completely empty. In Jae-woo Choi's pocket, beside a few crumpled bills, was a tie. He awkwardly handed the dirty money to Kang Cheol-ho, but still sincerely thanked him for the delicious meal. "I'll come again next time," Jae-woo Choi said, then turned and walked away, looking tired. Ekman Rex rubbed his eyes and asked, "When did you get back?" While Kang Cheol-ho silently pondered the recent guest. Kang Cheol-ho thought to himself about the man's difficult life, then quickly dismissed it from his mind. Not long after, he met the man again. Jae-woo Choi was walking down the street when he suddenly stopped, sensing something ominous. Right above him, a gigantic dark gate tore through the city sky as it exploded. The gate burst open, spewing a vortex of chaotic energy down onto the panicked crowd below. At the scene, a middle-aged man tried to cross the security barrier but was stopped by a guard. "I'm an awakener. Let me in to help," he pleaded. But the guard coldly asked about his rank. He awkwardly admitted he had no special skills, and was flatly refused due to the dungeon's danger level. The guard advised him to evacuate, unaware that a nearby schoolgirl had just flinched upon hearing a familiar voice. The young girl looked up, stunned to recognize the man. "Dad?" The father froze, crying out in despair upon seeing his daughter right in the danger zone. "Mijin." He rushed towards her, questioning why she was there instead of at school. "Dad will handle it. Hurry and go," the father urged, but Mijin only replied with a worried question. "Worried?" She burst into tears. "Dad said my only skill is eating well. You eat and work all day, and don't even come home. Do you really think rushing into the middle of all these injured people is worth it? I told you I needed money, so I came out to earn a scholarship," Mijin yelled, pushing her father away and insisting, "Just evacuate." Mijin collapsed, staring in shock at her father's tie lying on the ground. "Dad doesn't even have a decent weapon," she thought despairingly. Just then, an awakener with legs glowing with energy stepped onto the scene. Led by Kim Sang-hoo, the professional raid team advanced, sweeping past the father and daughter. A female commander loudly declared, "Raid complete. Healers, focus on treating the injured." Hearing the call, Mijin cast aside her fear, replied, "Yes," and rushed forward. Amidst the chaotic scene, words of gratitude echoed, acknowledging the sacrifices of the awakeners. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kang Cheol-ho quietly wiped his kitchen knife, pondering the power classes. This system divided power into 5 master tiers, with special schools to train the new generation. After mastering the first class, one could choose a second path for themselves. Possessing 2 power classes was a rare feat, enough to be ranked among the association's elite. So, if someone awakens with a useless ability, he muttered, gripping the piece of meat. Finding peace in an ordinary job is also natural. His thoughts drifted to the father and daughter who were leaving, but Kang Cheol-ho was different. He recalled, the 6th class. "In the final battle, I mastered it." He sighed. "Nothing new since then. Perhaps this is my limit." Suddenly, a red-haired woman burst in, frantically calling his name. "Miro! No, Cheol-ho! Something big has happened." She explained that the baby dragon, Kyul, had suddenly learned to speak. "Come on, Kyul. Say Papa," the woman said, bringing the little dragon towards Kang Cheol-ho. To everyone's astonishment, Kyul happily waved and called out loudly, "Papa, Papa." Kang Cheol-ho covered his mouth in surprise as the little dragon Kyul babbled. "It can talk." He cleared his throat, trying to stay calm. Isn't the name a bit too Korean? It even named itself Kyul, even though it was born in this world. Ekman Rex happily picked up Kyul, boasting, "Hear that? This dragon calls me Papa," leaving Kang Cheol-ho speechless as he replied, "Yes, I heard." Ekman curiously asked about Kyul's potential, to which Kang Cheol-ho mused, "I'm curious too. We'll probably have to wait for it to grow a bit more." Suddenly, the doorbell rang, accompanied by a deep, hoarse voice. "Boss, The haggard-looking man walked in. It was Mijin's father, and he asked, "Can I get 5 bowls of ramen right now?" Ekman Rex sighed in exasperation, seeing Kang Cheol-ho having to deal with another reluctant customer, thinking to himself, "Why do I have to run a real restaurant like this?" The father began to confide. "Today, I went to a gate raid party and happened to meet my daughter there." He clenched his fists, his voice full of bitterness. "I couldn't even speak up or help her, because I'm just a level 7 awakener. They told me to evacuate." Meanwhile, his daughter, Mijin, a promising level 3 healer, bravely rushed into the dangerous area. He recounted the shame of going to his daughter's school. "That's the girl you saw last time. That uniform was too expensive. I thought I should at least buy something to attend the parent-teacher meeting. But in the end, I only had enough for a tie." His voice trailed off in despair. "What's so great about a father who can't even provide for his daughter's graduation?" The man laughed in agony, burying his face in his hands. "Haha, damn it. Even in this situation, I still feel hungry." Kang Cheol-ho listened silently, a sense of empathy rising within him. "I am also a useless food type awakener." After the customer left, Kang Cheol-ho returned to the kitchen and called, "Ekmund." Ekmund Rex, busy, replied, "What is it? Would it be all right if I fattened you up?" Kang Cheol-ho's sudden question startled Ekmund Rex, who shrieked in panic. "You bastard! Are you planning to wait until I'm fat and then eat me?" "Just kidding." Kang Cheol-ho calmly pointed at something. "That's Kuel's shed skin." Still stunned, Ekman Rex asked, "Why are you staring at it like that?" Kang Cheol-ho replied with a serious expression, "I collected them carefully." Ekman Rex shrieked in horror. "I was going to keep them as mementos." A special, large-sized Atoho ramen pot was served, with Kuel's shed skin as the main ingredient. Kang Cheol-ho invited the sorrowful father. "We have some leftover meat, please enjoy," while Ekman collapsed in the background because his collection had been cooked. The desperate man began to eat, completely unaware of the dish's special origin. Kang Cheol-ho watched silently, swallowing as he saw the customer eat with relish. After the meal, only the empty pot and a crumpled bill remained as a thank you. The man bowed. "Thank you for listening to me, boss," and Kang Cheol-ho simply replied, "It's nothing." When the last customer had left, Kang Cheol-ho stood alone in the restaurant's quiet. The father walked down the street, silently contemplating his difficult life, unaware that behind him, Kang Cheol-ho was having the same thoughts. But Kang Cheol-ho mused to himself, "For those who strive to live, good things sometimes happen." He watched the man's retreating back, sending a silent encouragement. "Try to survive tomorrow. I'll always be here waiting." The corner of Kang Cheol-ho's lips curved into a rare smile. "So please, come back." Ekman still didn't understand. "Why hasn't anything changed?" Kang Cheol-ho calmly explained. "He ate dragon's shed skin. It's sure to have an effect." "That's a precious item." Ekmund, holding Kuel, questioned, "What's your reason for helping him?" Kang Cheol-ho was silent for a moment, his gaze suddenly distant. He gently stroked Kuel's head, his voice deepening. "My father also once had a back like that." The unexpected confession stunned Ekmund. It turned out the world conqueror also had a father. Meanwhile, the man had arrived home, opening the door to his dark apartment. Moonlight illuminated the sleeping figure of his daughter, Mijin, on the bed. In the quiet room, the father whispered about the tie his daughter had picked up, his heart heavy. Mijin cried in her sleep, her choked dad blending with an apology. The father gently stroked his daughter's head, comforting her. "It's okay, I'm sorry too." He poured out his heart about his own shortcomings, about a life he couldn't make complete for his child. But he affirmed an unchanging truth while pulling the blanket over her. "I will always love you." As dawn broke, the father named Kim Man-ho rushed through the streets, frantically searching for a spot in a raid team. Upon arrival, he panted before the dungeon gate guard who requested his awakener card. The guard recognized him, asked his name, and received a hesitant reply. Kim Man-ho. Memories of the incident at the Yeongdongpo dungeon flooded back, when he was the one who collapsed midway. Despite concerns about the risks, the guard still allowed him to join, advising him to do his best. Recruitment complete, the entire team headed towards the dungeon gate, which was emanating dark energy. At the same time, elsewhere, Kang Cheol-ho leisurely walked down the stairs. He calmly walked past a parked truck. A Zenkaku team bus sped past right in front of him. Kang Cheol-ho paused, a vague sense of unease suddenly rising within him. Back at the scene, the gate suddenly mutated, and malevolent energy erupted violently. Inside, Spear Mage Kim Sang-hoo frantically yelled, "Damn it, the gate has closed." Amidst the chaotic crowd, Mijin desperately screamed her father's name upon hearing that the Mana Crystal Company team was trapped. Under everyone's horrified gaze, especially Mijin's, a hidden boss seemed to have appeared, swallowing all hope. Kim Man-ho took his first step into the dungeon, a primeval forest fraught with danger. As commander, he rallied the clear-out team. "Don't spread out. Stick close to your comrades while taking down the small monsters. Let's go." Immediately, A dinosaur monster lunged out from the bushes, aiming straight for Kim Manhwa. It quickly changed targets, biting another team member amidst a piercing scream. In the midst of battle, Kim Manhwa suddenly realized his body was unusually full of energy, feeling neither hunger nor fatigue. "What is that?" a red-haired female comrade exclaimed in horror, her eyes fixed on the sky. A gigantic, abyss-black crack was tearing through the space inside the dungeon. Sensing the terrifying threat, the other team members began to scatter and flee. A colossal foot descended upon the ground, shaking the entire forest. From the crack, a hidden boss emerged, letting out an earth-shattering roar, making Kim Manhwa yell, "Damn it, it's the hidden boss." The man's face turned pale, horror evident as he realized he was facing death. A female comrade, running, explained in despair that when a hidden boss appears from a spatial rift, the clear-out team will almost certainly be wiped out. Kim Manhwa muttered the legendary monster's name. "Tigrex? It's coming! Hurry!" the red-haired girl yelled, trying to pull him away. But Kim Manhwa stopped, sweat pouring down his face, yet his eyes gleamed with a determined light. His gaze was no longer on the boss, but fixed on the sparkling magic stone on the corpse of the recently defeated monster. He thought to himself, if only he had this B-grade stone, he could buy Mijin new clothes and let her eat better food. "Hey, are you crazy? Get over here!" another comrade yelled from a distance. Despite everything, Kim Manhwa reached out towards the magic stone, determined to gamble his life. If only I had this." The Tigrex charged, its colossal jaws ready to swallow Kim Manhwa whole. An incredibly powerful force flung him far away, his body crashing mercilessly. In that moment, he bitterly realized, this is the pathetic state Mijin talked about. Even until the very last moment, I was still so foolish. The chaotic scene outside the gate flashed before his eyes. Memories flooded back, showing his beloved daughter sobbing in her sleep. Then came Mijin's radiant smile on her first day of school, and the innocent appearance of the little girl when she was young, and the tears of the motherless child at the funeral. He vividly remembered his daughter's tiny form on the day she was born. A whisper echoed in his ears. "Dad, I'm sorry. I can't die like this." He gritted his teeth. "I can't leave Mijin alone in this world." Kim Manhwa struggled to his feet, facing the monster. "I told you I can't die here." The Tigrex roared, claws digging deep into the ground, preparing for the kill. It lunged forward like an arrow, determined to devour its stubborn prey. But this time, the man didn't back down. Absolutely not. He let out a resounding roar, defying even death itself. "I can't die now." A punch enveloped in a blazing red aura suddenly stopped the monster's fangs. Energy surged around his fist. An unprecedented power was awakening. From a distance, another survivor was stunned. "Is that a rank up?" Kim Manhwa, engulfed in a blazing red aura, wondered. "Did I just block the hidden boss?" The newly awakened power made him no longer feel pain or hunger. For the first time in his life, he felt such an intense surge of vitality while facing the colossal monster. Barehanded, Kim Manhwa stopped the Tigrex's devastating bite. The terrifying recoil force sent the monster flying backward. He tensed his body, his feet digging deep into the ground, determined to hold his stance. Sweat poured down, but the father's will remained unyielding. "I'll keep holding on like this." Just then, an elite team of awakeners led by Kim Sang-hoo arrived at the scene. "The hidden boss is over there," a team member exclaimed in horror, pointing. The entire team was stunned by the sight of a lone man holding back a Tier 1 Tigrex. Kim Sang-hoo couldn't hide his admiration. It seems so? What an incredible man. While Kim Manhwa poured all his strength into it, the spear mage had the idea of getting to know him. A system notification appeared, confirming Kim Manhwa's rank up and superior abilities. Kim Sang-hoo began to analyze the Shikshin ability, a special kind of damage-dealing tanker. Elsewhere, Kang Cheol-ho mused. The problem was that not everyone understood the value of this Tier 3 ability. The battle ended. Kim Sang-hoo helped the exhausted hero and thought about returning. At the same time, at Kang Cheol-ho's house, the baby dragon Kuel let out a big yawn. The radio blared breaking news. Level 7 Awakener Kim Manhwa had single-handedly defeated the hidden boss Tigrex. Newspaper headlines praised the father who had spectacularly ranked up, becoming the hero of the conquest. The Awakener Association announced they would correct their erroneous assessment and award a large prize, causing Kuel to jump into Kang Cheol-ho's arms in surprise. Kang Cheol-ho remarked that Kuel seemed heavier, while the little dragon affectionately called him Papa. "I am not your father," Kang Cheol-ho coldly denied, but Kuel still pouted in response. "You are Papa." Helpless against such cuteness, he could only sigh as the next news report played on the radio. The news reported on a petty thief rampant in Seodaemun-gu, causing headaches for merchants. This thief was obsessed with sparkly things in food, especially low-level magic crystals, making Kuel look extremely suspicious. "A petty thief who likes sparkly things and food. Huh," Kang Cheol-ho muttered. while the real culprit was secretly at work. Kyul innocently offered him a cup of water, making Kang Cheol-ho turn back with a questioning look. "Don't drink that water, Kang Cheol-ho." Ekman Rex suddenly burst in, shouting in horror. With a horrified expression, Ekman explained, "That water contains a lot of germ." He recounted that Kyul had just learned about wells in a picture book, and how people drew water from them to drink. Kang Cheol-ho's face darkened as he realized that, in Kyul's eyes, the toilet bowl and the well looked quite similar. At another time, Jae-woo Choi was enthusiastically enjoying kakakdugi. "Boss, this is really delicious. Did you just make this batch?" Kang Cheol-ho casually revealed. "Recently, I acquired some good ingredients from the Sinchon area." The restaurant door opened as a regular customer cheerfully walked in. "Hello, boss." Jae-woo Choi stood up and introduced. "Welcome. I'm here with a friend today." He proudly pointed to his companion. "This is Captain Kim Sang-hoo." "Hello, I've heard much about you," Kang Cheol-ho politely replied, making Kim Sang-hoo secretly surprised by his courteous demeanor. Jae-woo Choi solemnly said, "Spear Mage, greetings, sir." And Kang Cheol-ho immediately realized they were from the Awakener Association. Kim Sang-hoo wearily greeted them, secretly complaining about the upcoming general meeting. Jae-woo Choi suddenly recognized his companion. "Oh my god. Is the person next to you the Shikshin?" He excitedly told Kim Sang-hoo about the glorious achievements of Shikshin Kim Manho. Kim Manho humbly smiled, attributing everything to his boss. Kang Cheol-ho replied amiably, "Not at all. I was just waiting for you to come to the restaurant." When offered ramen, Kim Manho happily agreed immediately. Seeing this, Kim Sang-hoo also decided to order a similar portion. As soon as the ramen was served, Kim Manho picked up the entire pot and slurped it down, astonishing Kim Sang-hoo. In the blink of an eye, the ramen pot was spotless, and Kim Sang-hoo admired. "You are truly amazing, sir." Kim Sang-hoo reminded Kim Manho that he needed to go to his daughter's school. Kang Cheol-ho also advised him to go, as Awakeners are always on active duty and should cherish their personal time. After Kim Manho left, Kang Cheol-ho smiled, remarking that their relationship didn't seem bad. Suddenly, he realized the space had become too quiet. Kang Cheol-ho turned around and saw Kim Sang-hoo had fallen asleep at the table. Drifting into sleep, Kim Sang-hoo began to float into a chaotic memory. In the flashback, he was furiously shouting at a stranger. "Hey, you crazy bastard. Are you out of your mind?" Provoked, Kim Sang-hoo's body erupted in fierce flames. From the fierce flames, a beast with sharp fangs materialized. The wolf-like monster let out a sky-shattering roar. In the quiet space of the restaurant, Kim Sang-hoo stirred awake from his nap. He sat up, realizing that the owner, Kang Cheol-ho, was still sitting in a corner reading the newspaper. Kang Cheol-ho said apologetically, "Goodness, it's this late already. There are no customers anyway. Would you like a proper meal?" "It's fine. I'm not hungry at all," Kim Sang-hoo replied. "Instead, could I have some alcohol?" Kang Cheol-ho answered from the counter. "Sure, but our place only has soju and beer." Kim Sang-hoo ordered a bottle of soju and left the choice of snacks to the owner, making Kang Cheol-ho ponder. "How about sashimi?" Kang Cheol-ho suggested, surprising the guest slightly. "Yes, I just bought a very high-quality fish," he smiled meaningfully. The era of monsters had changed everything, including the ecosystem beneath the ocean. Familiar fish species from 30 years ago were now scarce. Instead, there were monster species with similar flavors, like this young German fish. Kang Cheol-ho explained as the sharp blade glided over the fish. "Its taste is like whitefish, similar to sea bass or flounder." As perfect slices of fish were cut, he secretly thought about how his palate had changed over the years. A plate of exquisite German fish sashimi was served, delicately arranged. Kim Sang-hoo looked at the dish emotionally. "It's been a long time since I've had sashimi." Then, he slowly savored the first bite. A pure, gentle flavor spread, combined with crispy, shredded radish, washing away all fatigue. Seizing the moment, he downed a glass of soju while the flavor still lingered. "Ah!" A refreshing sigh escaped him, feeling as if he had been reborn. "Now I feel like I'm getting off work for the first time this week," Kim Sang-hoo told Kang Cheol-ho in the quiet of the night. Kim Sang-hoo smiled, enjoying the peaceful moment. "This is my first break in 2 years." He recalled the endless battles, day after day fighting against monsters. Hordes of monsters continuously poured out from spatial rifts, giving him no moment of rest. Kang Cheol-ho looked at the guest's spear, recognizing it as an adamantium weapon for high-level awakeners. Kim Sang-hoo remembered his youthful pride, believing that with just this spear, he could save the world. But the harsh reality had extinguished that confidence, making him realize he was just a grain of sand in a desert. "I've been in Seodaimon for 10 years now," he stretched tiredly. "It's truly exhausting." Kang Cheol-ho mused, his reflection momentarily transforming into the warrior, Miro Lycus of old. On days like these, Kang Cheol-ho said, "It's best to just smile bitterly and drink a glass of soju." He reminded him, "But you are one of the 5 protectors of Korea. That's very impressive. Kim Sang-hoo's tired reflection appeared in the glass of alcohol as he confessed the burden on his shoulders. Do any memories come back to you? Kang Cheol-ho asked, watching Kim Sang-hoo drink amidst the rain. Kim Sang-hoo put down his glass, his gaze distant. Of course they do. Kang Cheol-ho unexpectedly asked, do you know about the nine-tailed foxes? Memories flooded back, Kim Sang-hoo whispered. Come to think of it, it was raining that day too. In the pouring rain, a voice rang out angrily. Which idiot disturbed a sleeping nine-tailed fox? The past Kim Sang-hoo roared, it's gentlemen. Why would a level 2 awakener do this? That's what we're gonna find out right now, he yelled, his body transforming into a fiery werewolf, to the astonishment of his teammates. Back in the present, Kang Cheol-ho explained, creatures like the nine-tailed fox are divine beasts. The rule is never to disturb them, he concluded. They never attack first. But someone broke that peace. In Kim Sang-hoo's memory, he confronted a mysterious stranger amidst the city's cold rain. Hey, you bastard gentleman! What the hell did you do? Kim Sang-hoo roared, his anger exploding. The stranger remained silent, his icy gaze behind his glasses revealing no emotion. Captain! The desperate cry of a red-haired female warrior rang out as she witnessed a horrifying sight. A gigantic, fiery nine-tailed fox, like a nightmare, roared in the heart of the city. Form ranks. It's an unranked nine-tailed fox. The alarm was given at the presence of the divine beast. Without hesitation, Kim Sang-hoo ordered, Assault team, advance. I'll go in with you. I'll lead the charge. He led the formation, rushing straight towards the waiting monster. The nine-tailed fox opened its mouth, gathering a destructive energy sphere, ready to incinerate everything. A terrifying stream of firepower was unleashed, dyeing the entire night sky red. In the eyes of a warrior, the image of destruction was reflected hauntingly. From a distance, a group of mysterious people silently observed the life or death battle. Don't look directly at the flames on its tail. You'll get hallucinations, Kim Sang-hoo yelled, but his teammates were already panicking. Captain, it's coming. A gigantic, elaborately decorated magic shield appeared to fend it off. The entire team braced themselves against the terrifying heat as the flames collided with their defenses. The red-haired female warrior poured all her strength into chanting a spell to erect a stronger shield formation. The magic barrier temporarily held the monster at bay, but it was only a matter of time. Suddenly, another warrior with a purple spear appeared, his eyes full of determination. He charged straight through his own teammate's defensive barrier, without a moment's hesitation. Now shut up, the spearman yelled, his sharp spear tip aimed directly at the nine-tailed fox. The unknown spearman delivered a decisive blow, his purple spear piercing directly into the nine-tailed fox's jaw. The fiery beast's eyes reflected extreme horror before fading out. Its pupils contracted, signaling the end of a mythical creature. The spearman's face was tense, sweat pouring down as he put all his strength into the attack. The nine-tailed fox let out a final roar amidst the sea of flames, its massive body disintegrating. Back in the present, Kim Sang-hoo recounted thoughtfully, the nine-tailed fox raid lasted all night. Finally, when we succeeded, amidst those heart-wrenching screams, I heard crying. A wounded fox cub, curled up in the rain, appeared in his memory. Kim Sang-hoo, in his old armor, was stunned as he realized. A cub? He explained. The eagle that guy released hunted and caught a nine-tailed fox. Kang Cheol-ho listened intently as Kim Sang-hoo continued. That must have been a mistake. Even geniuses make mistakes. But we are not allowed to make such mistakes, he concluded with a stern expression. Kang Cheol-ho asked in surprise, there was a cub? And received the bitter reply, yes. Unfortunately, we eliminated it. Kang Cheol-ho placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, while Kim Sang-hoo bitterly stated that was how it ended. A noisy story in the media 2 years ago. I think that was a good choice, Kang Cheol-ho remarked, making Kim Sang-hoo force a smile. Feeling he had said too much, Kim Sang-hoo stood up. I'm leaving now, please bill me. He added, could you pack me a portion of the freshly served sashimi? Of course, Kang Cheol-ho replied. Then the scene shifted to a starry night sky. Kim Sang-hoo walked silently into the dark night, his back a lonely silhouette. His eyes reflected a complex emotion, the burden of the past still deeply etched. In a hazy memory, Kim Sang-hoo grabbed the culprit's collar. You crazy bastard. You messed with a mythical creature. A cub? He roared in the pouring rain. Just saying mistake makes it okay? So many people almost died because of you. What if it happened in the city center? Back in reality, after the heavy conversation, a bitter smile appeared on Kim Sang-hoo's lips. His lonely silhouette strode amidst the ruins, the burden of the past still deeply etched. Meanwhile, Kang Cheol-ho also sank into his memories. The nine-tailed fox, a monster I once saw on the Espen continent. He recalled that they were originally friendly, revered creatures, until he himself had to stain his hands with their blood. I hunted too, and regretted it both times. His thoughts echoed over the image of a tragic victory. Turning back to Kim Sang-hoo, he stood amidst the desolation, telling himself, Memories like these never fade. He silently opened a paper package. Inside was a carefully prepared portion of fresh meat. They remained like invisible scars, the dull ache in the warrior's heart. Like unspeakable screams, terrifying memories flooded his eyes, forcing me to constantly relive that moment. He faced the illusion of 3 blazing fireballs. In the dark forest of his mind, the ghostly flames still hovered, waiting. Suddenly, a small, clawed foot gently stepped out from the shadow. An orange 3-tailed fox cub appeared, innocently approaching the fireballs in his memory. Kim Sang-hoo gritted his teeth, confessing to himself, "I couldn't kill it. Back then, I couldn't." The image of the pale white fox cub, dying in the rain that day, reappeared, stabbing a knife into his heart, perhaps because of its desperate eyes. "I don't know, I just didn't want to," he thought. Looking at the small fox in front of him, he sat down on the ground, mocking himself. "Whatever. I've lost my right to be a guardian." As the small fox began to eat, he asked in a tone that was both scolding and affectionate, "How many mana stones have you stolen to grow 3 tails, huh?" The small fox ravenously devoured the pieces of meat Kim Sang-hoo brought. Suddenly, Kim Sang-hoo grabbed it by the scruff of its neck and lifted it, his expression cold. The fox cub growled, its body flaring with crimson energy as 5 tails appeared. He tightened his grip, his voice tense. "Listen carefully. I can't ignore this anymore. The association will act soon. Leave the city and live a peaceful life." He set it down on the ground, the spear in his hand hanging loosely. "Go." Hearing the fox's whimper, Kim Sang-hoo gritted his teeth, trying to suppress his own pain. Seeing it still hesitate, he turned his back and shouted, "Go, you fool." A sad smile flickered on his lips as the fox finally ran off. "Yeah." Standing alone under the moonlight, he whispered a farewell. "Hurry up and go." The small fox darted across the city rooftops, a blurry orange streak in the night. It suddenly stopped, ears perked, drawn by an unfamiliar presence. Looking through the window, it saw a small white creature excitedly waving from inside. Kuel pressed against the glass, happily calling out, "Dad! Umuro!" The baby dragon's eyes widened in surprise as the fox's face appeared right in front of it. In its naive mind, a simple deduction formed. A soft, harmless creature. A new friend. Kang Chial-ho opened the door, stunned by the sight of 2 mythical creatures playing on his bookshelf. His gaze locked onto the fox. "So it was you." Holding Kuel in his arms, he offered a gentle smile. "No wonder I sensed 9-tailed fox energy from the mountain behind. Want something to eat?" But as soon as he finished speaking, a wisp of sinister purple smoke suddenly curled up from his fingertip, and his expression turned cold. "It seems you've already eaten something somewhere." From a spatial gate, Kasim appeared and greeted, "Hello, ordinary Kang Chiol-ho. What brings me here this time?" "Huh?" Kang Chiol-ho pointed at the small fox on the table. "It's a young 9-tailed fox. Just take one of those magic stones." While Kang Chiol-ho held Kuel, Kasim respectfully offered a sparkling purple magic stone. The fox cub immediately took the stone in its mouth, and Kang Chiol-ho thought to himself, "A Tier 1 magic stone will be quite useful for its growth." The magic stone shattered, releasing a massive surge of energy. A brilliant light enveloped the fox as it fully absorbed the power. After the process concluded, Kang Chiol-ho opened the window and said decisively, "Now, go." He silently watched the small figure soar into the night, with only Kuel's cries remaining in his arms. The fox landed on a pillar on a rooftop, alone in the vast city. It remembered the spearman who had driven it away. "I know you're very kind, even if you pointed your spear at me." A tear rolled down its cheek. "But I won't be able to see you again, will I?" Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kim Sang-hoo lay in the forest, pondering. In a dark place like this, the 9-tailed fox's flames would stand out. He closed his eyes, sending a silent message. "So don't come back. And, live well." His words echoed as the fox looked up at the bright moon. At the same time, at the Korean Awakener Association headquarters in Yongsan, Seoul. This is where 5 Tier 2 Awakeners, known as the nation's guardians, gathered. The association also deployed its 3 most elite Tier 1 Awakeners for special mission, and the one in charge of it all was none other than the association president, Yu Jinsu. In his office, President Yu looked out the window and sighed. "Chaeyon, it's too hot." Ice, which Chaeyon coldly replied, "It's summer, after all. Shall I make some ice for you?" President Yu Jinsu said indifferently, "No, summer should be hot." Anyway, Chaeyon seriously got to the point. The mandragoras have disappeared, haven't they? They were a type of plant monster with extremely potent toxins, capable of spreading within a 1-kilometer radius. Worse still, its scream when on Earth was powerful enough to kill ordinary people and low-level awakeners, Chaeyon reported. 13 such plants have vanished without a trace, an extremely strange incident. Yu Jinsu chuckled. Since when did vegetables grow legs and run away? He decided, "I'll call Gabi. You should discuss this with her." Shadowcat Lee Gabi? Has she returned? Chaeyon was surprised to hear the name. Meanwhile, in an apartment, The baby dragon Kuel rubbed its eyes and woke up. It sat on the chest of a sleeping Kang Cheol-ho, wondering where its older brother Ekman was. With a gentle nudge, it began its mission to wake its master. "Dad, Dad," it softly called while continuing to rub against his cheek. Kang Cheol-ho groggily opened his eyes, met with the small creature's radiant smile. Kuel sat obediently, its eyes sparkling, waiting for something. Then, it diligently tried to climb onto the tall chair in the kitchen. With a single leap, the baby dragon conquered its objective. And then, it pulled out its morning gift, a giant mandragora. Kuel proudly presented its spoils to its still sleepy master. Disturbed, the plant monster immediately opened its mouth and let out a piercing scream. But before the sound could spread, Kuel calmly took a bite of its breakfast. Kuel bit into the mandragora, ignoring its terrifying screams. Kang Cheol-ho looked at Ekman Rex, thinking to himself, "What a little rascal." After neatly finishing its breakfast, Kuel rolled over and fell into a deep sleep, astonishing Ekman Rex. Did it really eat all of it? Holding Kuel in his arms, Kang Cheol-ho explained that he had recently been investigating spatial rifts. Ekman Rex scoffed, asking if he'd found anything, but the answer was simply, nothing. Just a lot of monsters from the Espen continent. The two words monsters made Kang Cheol-ho suddenly freeze, an idea flashing in his mind. He turned to tease Ekman Rex, making the dragon furious. "Dragons are a magnificent race. How dare you compare us to those creatures?" But that statement made Kang Cheol-ho realize a terrifying truth. Dragons, or something even more dreadful, could absolutely pass through the rifts. Ekman Rex instructed him to report any strange findings, and Kang Cheol-ho reluctantly agreed. Ekman wondered why a grandmaster of the Sixth Realm like Cheol-ho couldn't control the rifts, but he simply replied that he didn't know where they came from. When asked how he returned to this world, he just smiled, promising a long story and saying he would tell it later. Ekman Rex agreed, and Kang Cheol-ho decided he had to go to the market today to prepare for their talk. He thought to himself, when it comes to summer, it definitely has to be that dish. At the same time, on the outskirts of Sinchon, a massive energy dome still enveloped the entire city. Inside, Ice Witch Cheon was investigating, but she muttered, "As expected, there are no traces." She stood up, full of doubt. "They told me to come here." Suddenly, a shadow flickered in and out among the green wisps of gas. Cheon immediately sensed danger, condensing icy energy in her palm. But her opponent was even faster. A cold hand pressed directly against her face. Shadowcat Lee Gabi appeared from behind, easily subduing the Ice Witch with a triumphant smile. Lee Gabi looked directly at her opponent, speaking with full confidence. "So you are the Ice Witch of Sinchon?" Shadowcat Lee Gabi, a level 1 awakener, stood in the middle of the scene and admitted, "I've looked everywhere, but there really aren't any clues." Seeing Chaeyon seem timid, Lee Gabi interrupted. "No need to be formal, just call me sister. You're really cute. Are you Sinchon's guardian?" Lee Gabi continued to reassure her. All right, don't be nervous. How many years have you been doing this?" Cheon replied, "This is my 10th year." She couldn't help but secretly admire her senior's aura. Looking up at the barrier in the sky, Cheon thought in surprise. "I passed through the barrier without leaving a trace. Is this the power of a level 1 awakener?" Lee Gabi smiled kindly. "I've met the previous guardian a few times, but this is our first time meeting, isn't it?" "Nice to meet you, I'm Lee Gabi." After the brief introduction, the two shook hands, officially beginning their cooperation. Lee Gabi got straight to the point. "What's the situation?" Cheon reported that 13 mandragoras had vanished without a trace from the sealed area. The two observed the scene from above. Lee Gabi asked, "Who erected this barrier?" Cheon replied, "It was a level 4 awakener from our team." Lee Gabi crossed her arms and mused. "If someone bypassed a level 4 barrier without leaving a trace, they must be at least level 3. We'll have to ask around among the mercenaries in Seoul." "Which is the largest mercenary group here?" Lee Gabi asked. Cheon immediately replied, "It's the Temple Mercenary Corps in Seodaimun." "Then let's go there first." "I'm hungry too, so we can eat while we're at it," Lee Gabi decided. "It's also a good chance to meet that spear-wielding kid." Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kim Sang-hoo suddenly felt his ears tingle. "Who's talking about me?" At the same time, at Kang Cheol-ho's house, Ekman Rex was enthusiastically cuddling Kuel. So incredibly cute. Ekman Rex wondered, who does our Kuel get her beauty from? Kang Cheol-ho replied coldly from behind the door. "Her brother. Who else?" Caught red-handed, Ekman Rex's face flushed with embarrassment. "You! How much did you see?" Ekman Rex stammered. Kang Cheol-ho replied curtly. From beginning to end, Kang Cheol-ho casually said, "I don't think there's anything shameful about doting on your little sister." Ekman Rex could only turn away, coughing to hide his awkwardness. Kang Cheol-ho picked up half a watermelon and ordered, "Fill that large pot over there with water." Ekman Rex was surprised. "Oh, what's that?" Kang Cheol-ho introduced the watermelon, a type of vegetable Ekman Rex had never seen. Ekman Rex blankly held the cleaned chicken, while Kang Cheol-ho explained it was an expensive type of livestock. Even I know what a chicken is, Kang Cheol-ho retorted irritably as he opened the refrigerator. We have them on the S-Band continent too. He unexpectedly pulled out a writhing mandrake, making Ekman Rex exclaim, "Where did you get that?" "I just picked it up while taking a walk," Kang Cheol-ho casually replied to the dragon's astonishment. He explained that mandrake is full of yin energy, which has a cooling effect on the body. "Today, I'll use it as a side dish," he declared, while Ekman Rex began chopping vegetable. When asked what he was stuffing into the chicken, Kang Cheol-ho listed glutinous rice, garlic, mandrake, green onions. He gently placed the chicken into the simmering broth, promising that the samgyetang would soon be ready. Suddenly, the door opened, and a strange customer walked in, surprised. "I didn't know there was a restaurant here." Following him were Lee Gabi and Chaeyeon. Gabi cheerfully said, "Hello, wow, it smells amazing." Kang Cheol-ho calmly invited them in, while Ekman Rex startled and greeted them awkwardly. The brown-haired man teased, "Excuse me, boss, we have 2 freeloaders today," then turned to call Ekman Rex's niece. Kang Cheol-ho invited them to try the samgyetang. Lee Gabi immediately brightened. "Chicken? It's been ages since I've had any. Please excuse me, I'm a vegetarian." The brown-haired warrior spoke up, making Kang Cheol-ho ponder. Soon after, a lavish meal was served with samgyetang and mandrake radish kimchi. Chaeyeon held a hot chicken drumstick, her eyes sparkling with surprise. She didn't hesitate to take a big bite, savoring the wonderful flavor. "Delicious," she exclaimed, while her vegetarian teammate fell in love with the kimchi. "The crispiest and most refreshing I've ever eaten." Witnessing that, Lee Gabi smiled at Kang Cheol-ho and asked, "Are you a vegetarian?" Put on the spot about vegetarian dishes, Kang Cheol-ho cleverly offered a dessert. "I don't know many dishes, but I have watermelon here." Lee Gabi's eyes immediately lit up, and she happily replied, "Watermelon, yes please." Kang Cheol-ho began to explain the variety of ways to prepare this fruit. He decided to show off his skills. "Today, I'll try a different method," then began scooping out the watermelon flesh. As he cut more strawberries, he instructed, "You can add other fruits too, like strawberries or kiwis." With extraordinary speed, Kang Cheol-ho quickly put all the cut fruit into the watermelon rind. Next, he poured in a bottle of sparkling water, creating an appealing bubbly sight. The finished fruit punch made both girls exclaim in admiration at its refreshing appearance. Chaeyeon smiled mysteriously. "Well then," and used magic to create ice cubes from thin air. Kang Cheol-ho immediately realized, "Oh, you're an awakener," as she introduced herself as the Ice Witch. Chaeyeon looked embarrassed. "Ugh, I don't really like that title." She recounted that she accidentally froze an entire arena, which is why she was given that unpleasant nickname. Lee Gabi chuckled at her teammate's embarrassment, while Kang Cheol-ho secretly thought, "Why do such amazing people keep coming here?" But then he shifted his attention to Lee Gabi, his gaze sharpening. More importantly, he secretly assessed. This person's aura is at the guardian level, or higher, and she's unrealistically beautiful. After finishing the meal, Lee Gabi happily thanked him. "Thanks for the meal." Once the guests had left and only the pile of dishes remained, the real conversation began. Ekman Rex thoughtfully said to Kang Cheol-ho, "About that woman just now, she was truly beautiful. So beautiful she didn't seem human," Ekman Rex continued. And Kang Cheol-ho simply replied, "You guessed right." As Lee Gabi and Chaeyeon's figures faded from view, Kang Cheol-ho revealed a shocking truth. "She's an elf." Kang Cheol-ho explained, "I used Detect Eye and saw that she has the ghostly sprint skill, which only elves possess." Ekman Rex wondered, "But don't elves usually have pointed ears? Do you think she noticed us?" Kang Cheol-ho mused, realizing that this world not only had monsters from spatial rifts, but also other races that had adapted and lived here for a long time. Or worse, someone was hiding and plotting a dark conspiracy. Suddenly, he called out loudly, "Khan!" pulling Ekman Rex out of his thoughts. Kang Cheol-ho smiled. "I'll let you try a unique dish. Grab a spoon. We're making watermelon soju. We have to enjoy life a little more, don't we?" Meanwhile, elsewhere, Lee Gabi sighed after an inconclusive investigation. The brown-haired comrade teased, "Hey sis, if it vanished without a trace, why don't we just consider it a new natural law for Mandragoras?" He scratched his head in frustration, listing a series of dead ends. No witnesses, no victims, nothing unusual in distribution. Chaeyeon analyzed, if even a level 1 Shadowcat couldn't find anything, then the answer probably lies in an unexpected direction. Unless someone ate them all, the brown-haired comrade joked, then suggested they wrap things up. But Lee Gabi still felt something was amiss. Standing in the night city, she decided, "There's no physical evidence, just suspicion. But something is definitely happening." She turned to her comrade and said, "We went all the way to the temple mercenary corps and didn't get any information, only shocking news." The brown-haired comrade continued, "The captain of the temple, Cheon Tae-jung, is about to retire. In a hidden corner, the man mentioned quietly lit a cigarette. Cheon Taejung looked up at the starry night sky, beginning his monologue. He mused about the changing landscape, where buildings had replaced trees, and asphalt had replaced green grass. Clutching his lighter, he concluded wearily, "This land, once fragrant with flowers, now only reeks of monster blood. Now, I am tired." Amidst the chaotic night, Captain Cheon Taejung coldly ordered, "Protect the survivors." Standing before the entire corps, he solemnly declared, "Mission accomplished." Elsewhere, Kang Cheol-ho skimmed the article about their achievements, remarking, "Impressive." The baby dragon Kyul rubbed its head against his leg, and Kang Cheol-ho smiled, asking, "Oh, you're awake?" He picked Kyul up, praising, "Your fashion today is quite good. Well done." Kyul proudly replied, "That's right. Sleeveless is more masculine, isn't it?" The little dragon was incredibly excited, unable to stop drooling. It snuggled into its owner's arms, whining daddy, and he gently responded. Kang Cheol-ho pondered, chin in hand. "What should we have for breakfast? It has to be something really delicious." He philosophized. Life is short. There are only 3 chances a day to eat well. Then suddenly realized something. He pinched Kyul's chubby cheeks, teasing, "Oh, but of course, your life isn't short at all." After some deliberation, he decided, "Then let's have white rice. Whole grains are good for health, but our bodies aren't really affected by those things anyway." "Fluffy, go wake your brother up," Kang Cheol-ho ordered, and Kyul happily ran off immediately. In the bedroom, Kyul hovered in the air, aiming straight for Ekman Rex, who was in a deep sleep. With an excited cry, the baby dragon landed directly on the dragon guest's face. Ekman Rex's piercing scream echoed throughout the house, met by Kang Cheol-ho's satisfied smile. Breakfast was ready. Bibimbap with belto eggs and vegetables, a special dish made from unique ingredients. As Ekman Rex mixed the rice bowl, he wondered, "What is this? Why does it smell so strange?" To which Kang Cheol-ho calmly replied, "Just trust me." Once mixed, all 3 tasted the first bite together. An explosive flavor astonished everyone, and breakfast began in absolute satisfaction. After the hearty meal, empty bowls lay scattered on the table. Ekman Rex asked worriedly, "Can, the little one has been strange lately. She just eats and then falls asleep. Is she okay?" Kang Cheol-ho gently stroked Kyul's chin, reassuring him, "This is part of their development process. At this stage, they eat and sleep a lot. So we'll soon know her rank." Ekman Rex excitedly picked up the yawning Kyul. "I'll put her to sleep first." The doorbell rang, and Kang Cheol-ho turned to greet, "Welcome, esteemed guest." Kim Man-ho walked in, smiling as he remarked, "Oh, the rice smells delicious." The guest ordered, "Ramen first, please. And for the rice, cold rice is best." Kang Cheol-ho smiled knowingly. Of course, cold rice with ramen is the perfect combination. While waiting, Kim Man-ho flipped through a newspaper, his eyes stopping at a familiar name. On the newspaper page was a picture of the captain of the Temple Mercenary Corps. The peaceful atmosphere outside the restaurant was oblivious to the stories about to be revealed inside. Kim Man-ho exclaimed, "This kimchi is absolutely delicious," unaware that he was enjoying a dish made from mandragora. The door opened again, and Jae-woo Choi entered with an enthusiastic voice. "Greetings, sir, and greetings to Lord Shikshin." Jae-woo Choi chuckled. "Looks like you're here to eat," then turned to Kang Cheol-ho. "I just stopped by to say hello. This summer heat is really harsh," Kang Cheol-ho said as he handed him a glass of cool water. Jae-woo Choi proudly boasted about his abundant stamina, while Kang Cheol-ho secretly thought, "That's thanks to the mandragora." Jae-woo Choi suddenly lowered his voice. "By the way, the spear mage must be feeling quite uneasy lately, right?" Hearing this, Kim Man-ho interjected, "The spear mage, Cheon Taejung, is about to retire." Kang Cheol-ho was stunned by the shocking news. "Retiring?" Kim Man-ho explained with a heavy expression. "This matter is related to the great invasion at Seodaemon Gate 10 years ago." Kang Cheol-ho started to recount. That was Kim Sang-hoo's first mission, when 4 of the 5 guardians had fallen. The story revolves around Cheon Taejung, the head of the Temple Combat Unit, a level 3 awakener with power far exceeding the norm. He was an outstanding commander, the hero who saved everyone during the great invasion at Seodaemon Gate 10 years ago. At the same time, in the association office, Chairman Yu Jinsu mused, "I knew this day would come." But, hearing a knock, he allowed the guest to enter. Cheon Taejung entered, greeting, "Long time no see, Mr. Chairman." In the quiet space of the office, the fateful conversation began. "Do you really have to retire?" Yu Jinsu asked directly, and Cheon Taejung replied decisively, "Yes, I must." "Why?" Yu Jinsu questioned, receiving only a simple answer. "Because it's time for me to retire." The chairman couldn't control his emotions, slamming the table and shouting, "Don't you think it's too sudden? You're the one who built this core. I've always been by your side since the hardest days," Yu Jinsu continued, his voice filled with anguish. Cheon Taejung slammed the cup onto the table, interrupting, "Listen carefully, Mr. Chairman. No one does everything alone, he calmly explained. From now on, others will continue to bear the burden. Looking out at the sunset, the veteran warrior sighed. I'm tired. I finally want to put this burden down. Finishing his words, Qian Taejung stood up and left, leaving a remark. We'll talk later, I'm busy. Yu Jinsu stood silently in the room, his heart heavy. Sang-hoo, he must be in a lot of pain. Meanwhile, the successor had been decided. A promising young awakener named Kang Hyuk. As night fell, Qian Taejung stood alone in the city, muttering, what a perfect day. In his mind, a past scolding echoed, you crazy bastard. Did you hear the word hope? On a deserted street, Qian Taejung and Kim Sang-hoo stood facing each other in silence. Meanwhile, at a nearby restaurant, Kang Cheol-ho was meticulously preparing ingredients. The door opened, and Kim Sang-hoo wondered, there's a restaurant like this here? While Qian Taejung confirmed, I told you so. Kim Sang-hoo politely asked the owner, Kang Cheol-ho. Hello, do you have a menu? Kang Cheol-ho replied, today's meal is a Korean-style set meal, which surprised Kim Sang-hoo. The young owner turned to the older man. What do you think, sir? And secretly thought this person was probably around his age. Qian Taejung sat down and asked directly, may I have a moment of your time? Are you busy? With a serene expression, he continued, no, I'm not busy anymore. Please, make yourself at home. Kang Cheol-ho smiled back. All right. Kim Sang-hoo unexpectedly interjected. Oh, I was just showing the way. Only this gentleman is staying. I'm busy, so I'll be leaving first. Qian Taejung watched his juniors retreating back, saying apologetically, I'm sorry, he's still young and naive. But Kang Cheol-ho was surprised. What are you saying? He's a guardian. Lighting a cigarette, Qian Taejung pondered. When did he grow up so much? He said apologetically. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Is smoking allowed here? But Kang Cheol-ho reassured him. There are no other customers right now, please feel free. The aroma rising from the rice cooker made Qian Taejung exclaim. It smells so good, he explained. It's the smell of cooked rice. It's been so long since I've smelled this. Kang Cheol-ho thoughtfully repeated the guest's words. A nostalgic scent, indeed. Everyone has something to miss. Kang Cheol-ho thought to himself and decided, should I use that dish again this time? He began preparing a special dish. A rustic, simple soybean paste stew. He explained his recipe. I simmer it for a long time with just soybean paste and vegetables, no broth needed, creating a rich countryside flavor. Kang Cheol-ho skillfully prepared the side dishes, fried eggs, and grilled salted fish. A lavish traditional meal was served, with special ingredients from the dungeon world. Qian Taejung took a deep breath, the aroma of the soybean paste stew evoking intense emotion. He carefully tasted the first spoonful of stew, the steam still rising. His taste buds exploded. Qian Taejung froze, exclaiming, this is... A spoonful of fragrant, sticky white rice was brought up, blending with the taste of memories. It feels like home, Qian Taejung said emotionally, the taste of his hometown flooding back after 30 years away. He began to recount the story from 30 years ago, the first day he set foot in Seoul. Kang Cheol-ho agreed. Indeed, time flies by in the blink of an eye. Qian Taejung mused, recalling the moment he left his hometown, thinking he would return soon, never expecting it to be a struggle for survival. In the chaotic night, an indelible memory of a life-or-death battle resurfaced. The Great Evacuation era 30 years ago, and the final invasion 10 years ago, bloody milestones in history. Back then it was the evacuation era, Kang Cheol-ho confirmed, listening to the guest's story. Memories flooded back to the first day monsters appeared, tearing through the sky and spreading terror. Cities fell, the world was engulfed in flames, and countless lives perished. Qian Taejung recalled the fateful moment. At that time, I happened to pick up a sword and my power erupted. So, I led the survivors from my hometown to Seoul, because the strong must rise up. Taking a puff of his cigarette, he concluded, that was the beginning of the Temple Mercenary Corps, and when the world was rebuilt, the title Guardian was born from that. Qian Taejung began his story, speaking of a Korea that was now just the city of Seoul, shielded within an energy dome. He recalled the event 10 years ago, the day D-rank monsters flooded into the world. That was the final great invasion, and a young man was struggling to resist. The young man thought to himself, it's really strong. Facing the giant monster, he desperately realized, I'm no match for it alone. If this continues, I'll die. Extreme fear erupted in an internal scream. I don't want to die. Just then, a figure rushed in, blocking the fatal attack with a katana. The strange man placed his bloodied hand on the young man's, his voice steady. Wake up, kid. The young man trembled, astonished by the person who had just saved his life. He looked down at his hands, fear and the urge to flee consuming his mind. But the man said, it's moving forward in moments like these that defines who you truly are. If you're a coward, you'll spend your whole life running. What's your name? The man asked. And the young man replied, I am Kim Sang-hoo. So you're the newly appointed guardian, the man realized. But Kim Sang-hoo could only stammer a warning. Yes, sir, behind you. With the scar now etched over his eye, the swordsman said. Watch closely, rookie. He faced the roaring monster charging towards him. Alone, a single slash was unleashed, radiating a brilliant light. The sword's path swept away all obstacles in its way. Amidst the rubble, Cheon Taejung stood firm, declaring, This is the path we forge ourselves, he concluded with a proud smile. Kim Sang-hoo gasped softly as he realized something. In his combat attire, he stood under the night sky, determined to carry out one last mission for his senior. Looking down at the quiet residential area, he murmured, This place is beautiful, old man. He entered the forest, telling himself that this place must be absolutely safe, free of any monster, because this is where that person will come, where that person will rest. Kim Sang-hoo affirmed, For now, this is all I can do. I must ensure this zone of tranquility becomes a truly peaceful place. But then, a tear rolled down his cheek, and he gritted his teeth. Damn it. Collapsing to his knees, he bowed his head on his spear, desperately screaming in silence. Why? Why isn't there a single monster? Under the moonlight, helplessness enveloped him. I can't do anything for him. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Cheon Taejung questioned himself. Do you have any regrets? Putting out his cigarette, he answered himself. Every day is a string of regrets. I had to become perfect, to protect someone, to survive. At least, to get through the day, he mused about his burden. We are not allowed to make mistakes, because our mistakes will cost others their lives. Kang Cheol-ho quietly observed, realizing, I thought his thoughts were quite naive, but it turns out, he learned that from this person. He understood, such an effort to become perfect would ultimately destroy a person, yet he still trained an excellent successor generation. Kang Cheol-ho spoke up. I heard you're returning to your hometown. Cheon Taejung replied simply, Yes. Cheon Taejung looked into the distance, empathizing. I think I can understand the time you've been through. I too have lived for everyone. As he was about to pull out his wallet to pay, Kang Cheol-ho spoke first. This meal is on the house. Cheon Taejung was surprised, and received a respectful reply. Our restaurant always offers free meals to those returning to their hometowns. Kang Cheol-ho smiled, thinking to himself, What a strange restaurant. Thank you for the meal, Cheon Taejung said as he opened the door. Please continue to look after that stubborn fellow later. He paused for a moment, asserting, He's already a good guardian. With a satisfied smile, Cheon Taejung proudly reiterated, Yes, he has become an excellent guardian. I see him as my son. He hesitated, then turned away. Never mind. Standing outside the restaurant, Cheon Taejung smiled. It was a pleasant time, sir. The lone hero's silhouette strode down the empty street, the moon shining brightly tonight. Watching from the shop door, Kang Cheol-ho mused. Yes, old soldiers don't die, but they just fade away. His thoughts concluded as Cheon Taejung sped off on his motorcycle, leaving the city. He stopped by the roadside, taking off his heavy helmet. Looking towards his hometown under the dawn light, he solemnly declared, I'm home. Meanwhile, in a distant place, Kim Sang-hoo stood silently on a cliff. Take care and live well, old man, he said, tearing up in a silent farewell. When Kim Sang-hoo left, the cliff returned to its inherent tranquility. A small creature with many tails suddenly appeared, whispering, So soft, it recalled. Both the human who just left and the mysterious creature. The one who gave me the sparkling stone. Something soft that has never hurt me. Come here, it decided, following its instincts. The dawn light shone upon the town, signaling the arrival of a new, gentle human. Suddenly, Kang Cheol-ho found himself lost in darkness, echoing voices calling, Miro! Lantero? Miro! In the dark space of his subconscious, Kang Cheol-ho panicked as voices from the past echoed, Lantero, are you awake? His mind was disturbed, images shattering in a chaotic nightmare. Memories flooded back of Miro Lycus facing a powerful army and a terrifying summoned entity alone. From the center of the magic circle, a powerful voice rang out, Are you the one who summoned me to this dimension? A horned mage unleashed a fierce magical attack towards the hero. What nonsense are you spouting? Miro Lycus replied, his face cold and unwavering. I don't understand. His armor gleamed, blocking the magic attack that had just struck. In an instant, the attacking magic circle began to crack under immense pressure. The enemies did not falter, continuing to unleash a barrage of magical attacks. But Miro Lycus was faster. He delivered a steel punch, shattering the magic barrier. Kang Cheol-ho jolted awake, gasping for breath, covered in sweat. He raised a hand to his forehead, the lingering echoes of the dream battle still deeply etched in his mind. Just as he sat down at the table, he saw Ekman Rex sprawled on the floor and asked in surprise, What's wrong with you? You're emitting such overwhelming killing intent, Ekman Rex yelled. And you ask me what's wrong? Kang Cheol-ho gently rubbed his forehead, and tiredly offered a brief apology. "Damn it, it's nothing," he muttered. "It's been almost 10 years since the war ended. Yet I still get like this sometimes." He suddenly realized, perhaps, it's because yesterday I heard about the great invasion in Seoul 10 years ago. The day I confronted the Demon King. It couldn't just be a coincidence. Looking at the faint dawn light outside the window, he concluded thoughtfully, "Even so, we probably won't meet again here." Kang Cheol-ho stood with his arms crossed, watching Kyul, his face filled with resignation at her cries. He sighed, seeing the entire wall transformed into a scribble, thinking to himself, "At times like these, you really do look like a child. Let's see. What did you draw here? Chicken?" He picked up the fried chicken advertisement, immediately catching Kyul's attention. When Kyul innocently pointed at the stick figure, Kang Cheol-ho asked in confusion, "This is chicken? Huh?" He squatted down to look at the other drawings. "Fish? It even has arms, so it must be a merperson. Have I ever seen a merperson? You little devil." He lifted Kyul, facing her glistening, tearful eyes. Kyul immediately rubbed her head affectionately against his cheek, calling daddy, which softened Kang Cheol-ho's heart. He gently patted her head and laid down a condition. "I'll make chicken for you today, so you have to erase all these drawings. Got it?" Just then, Ekman Rex burst into the room, toothbrush still in his mouth. "Can. Is the kid up to her tricks again?" Kang Cheol-ho casually assigned a task to the red-haired man, who was clutching his head. "Today, you'll teach Kyul what cleaning is." Seeing Kyul still clinging to Kang Cheol-ho, Ekman Rex pouted and asked, "Hey, why do you seem closer to Kyul than I am? Watch the house carefully. I'm going to buy food." Kang Cheol-ho called back as he left. The scene shifted to a bustling outdoor market, teeming with people. Kang Cheol-ho carried a bag full of chicken, muttering, "So much chicken, huh? Well, someone eats a lot. Actually, it's a dragon." The butcher cheerfully said, "Today's my lucky day, and there's a festive atmosphere today too." He pointed into the distance. "Just try heading towards the plaza. It's probably still in the trial run phase." In the plaza, a gigantic metal golem was moving powerfully. The crowd below cheered excitedly at the combat machine's spectacular display. Amidst the crowd, a strange woman approached Kang Cheol-ho from behind. "It's a golem." "Huh? Hello, sir." The girl started a conversation. "Are you here for sightseeing?" Kang Cheol-ho replied, "I'm here to attend the trial run of a newly developed ogre." Kang Cheol-ho wondered about the name ogre, and the purple-haired woman confirmed it was a controllable golem, powered by magic stones. He calculated in his head, its power is immense, but its limitations are also very clear. The combat machine proved effective against giant monsters thanks to its superior strength. However, it became useless against small and agile enemies, completely unable to keep up with them. The woman revealed that not everyone could control it, making Kang Cheol-ho curious about the pilot's identity. He immediately recognized it as a Gear Walker, a Level 1 Awakener, one of only 3 known. To pilot the golem, the operator must have a special physique to transmit energy from the magic stones, and the one who possessed the Golem Meister profession was Kim Hoon, a Level 1 Awakener. Kang Cheol-ho concluded that despite the high cost, this technology still had the potential to change the world if invested in properly. Feeling there was nothing more to see, he decided to leave, but the woman called him back. She smiled in relief, knowing his restaurant was still open, promising to visit soon. Kang Cheol-ho strode down the street at dusk, a bag of newly bought items in his hand. Just as he opened the door, he froze before a strange silhouette, a giant blue creature. In the messy room, an exquisite water spirit stood, while Kyul cheered happily beside her. Ekman Rex grinned and greeted. "Oh, Cheol-ho, you're back. What's with that spirit? Is she yours?" He excitedly explained that Kyul had just been identified as a spirit master. As Ekman began to ramble about the dragon race, Kang Cheol-ho immediately recognized her as Undine, the spirit of water. Kyul unexpectedly hugged Undine, calling Mommy, causing Ekman to hastily correct her in vain. Kang Cheol-ho asked, "A spirit like that must be a high-ranking one, right?" And Ekman tiredly confirmed it. He mused. The power of a high-ranking spirit in combat was truly not to be underestimated. Ekman explained about the spirit kings representing the 4 elements: Undine, Salamander, Sylph, and Gnome. 4 dimensions existed in parallel: the Demon Realm, the Spirit Realm, the Espan Continent, and Earth. Among them, a mysterious link had formed between the Espan Continent and Earth. Kang Cheol-ho thought to himself, "My brain can't keep up with this." He turned to Ekman, asking practically, "Anyway, at least have you taught her how to clean?" Hearing the command, Undine immediately used her water power to clean the messy table in the blink of an eye. Kang Cheol-ho smiled, deciding, "Since the little one has awakened, we should have a celebration party." Immediately, he took out a bowl of fresh chicken, preparing for the feast. In the kitchen, he began marinating, reminiscing about the fried chicken craze that swept the country 30 years ago. Countless variations were born, from seasoned chicken to soy sauce chicken, creating a rich culinary landscape. The chicken pieces were dropped into the sizzling hot oil, emitting a mouth-watering aroma. But above all, only one type was the pinnacle, the foundation of all creativity. Traditional fried chicken. Kang Cheol-ho brought out the golden brown chicken dish, and Kyul was immediately drawn to it, shouting to eat. The little dragon happily gnawed on a small piece of chicken in Ekman's arms. Watching Kyul eat with relish, Kang Cheol-ho could only chuckle. "You little rascal." Kyul looked up with glistening eyes, her mouth still greasy, enjoying the wonderful taste. Seeing this, Ekman couldn't hold back anymore. "I want a piece too." But Kang Cheol-ho stopped him. With a serious expression, Kang Cheol-ho declared, "In my world, the way one eats fried chicken reveals their true nature." He posed a surprising challenge. "So, Ekman, which part will you eat first?" Ekman Rex broke into a sweat, speechless before the seemingly simple yet incredibly pressure-filled question. In Kang Cheol-ho's hand was a piece of chicken neck, he mused. "I like this part, but what does it say about my nature?" Seeing Kyul ravenously digging in, he chuckled to Ekman Rex. "All right, just kidding. Let's eat too." Ekman Rex cried out in despair as Kyul's belly was full. "Oh my god, I haven't even had a bite." While Kang Cheol-ho calmly remarked, "She ate the bones too. Normally it would be soju, but with chicken, you absolutely need beer," Kang Cheol-ho declared, placing a bottle of beer on the table. The two clinked their glasses in a cheerful atmosphere. "We worked hard today." Ekman Rex bit into a crispy piece of chicken, unable to hide his satisfaction. So delicious." Immediately after, he astonishingly held up a perfectly clean bone. "How can you debone it so cleanly?" Kang Cheol-ho burst out laughing at the dragon guest's expression. "There are so many small bones." Mid-meal, Kyul suddenly snapped her head up, drawn by a strange sound. Outside the window, unexpected fireworks burst open, illuminating the entire night sky. Ekman Rex flinched. "I thought war had broken out or something," but Kang Cheol-ho merely smiled. "It seems the festival is still ongoing." He picked Kyul up, gently explaining, "Those are fireworks. Is it your first time seeing them?" And the little dragon joyfully exclaimed, "Papa." Looking at Kyul with affection, Kang Cheol-ho suddenly realized, "Come to think of it, she's always been in the restaurant." "Khan, when will she be able to transform?" Ekman Rex replied. "Now that she's awakened her profession, I think it'll be soon." Then curiously added, "And fire breath too?" "Yes," Kang Cheol-ho smiled expectantly. "I'm really looking forward to that." Under the brilliant fireworks, he secretly dreamed of the future. "I'll buy her beautiful clothes, take her all over the world, tie her hair, and buy her a necklace." At the same time, in a top-secret laboratory, a giant mechanical drill was being started. Kim Hoon, the golem pilot, irritably complained, "The machine is too heavy. The magic stone's performance isn't as expected. We need a metal that absorbs mana better." He sighed, tiredly entering the changing room, unaware that someone was already waiting. A familiar voice rang out as the purple-haired woman smiled. "You've worked hard," causing Kim Hoon to remind her. "This is the men's changing room," Kim Hoon teased his purple-haired teammate. "Just because you're called an old lady. Are you really acting like one now?" "Damn it, because of that test, I've only had water all day," he grumbled, while she had already found a restaurant. He brushed her off. "You? You're even older than my mom," then asked about the restaurant, and she concisely replied, "In Seodaemon." The purple-haired woman mentioned that the place was near Kim Sang-hoo's area, then abruptly asked about Commander Cheon Taejung's retirement news. "Unfortunately, he's a good man," Kim Hoon called out from the locker, while the woman admitted it was time for him to rest. With a distant look in her eyes, the woman silently wished she also had a homeland to return to. Changing the subject, she asked about the new magic stone, and Kim Hoon remarked that the mana concentration was quite high but not entirely pure. Leaning against the locker, he confirmed it came from the newly ranked level 1 dungeon, but something felt very suspicious. She explained it was a cave-type dungeon in Incheon, with no monsters, except that the sky had started emitting strange light. At the same time, at that very location, Kang Cheol-ho sensed an anomaly as the necklace in his hand began to vibrate. He looked up at the purplish sky, sensing something was about to descend from above. He recalled countless treasures acquired from dragons and even the Demon King in the past, currently managed by Kasim. Memories of dragons always being terrified and avoiding the name Miro Lycus flooded back. Using the magic power staff, one of those treasures, Kang Cheol-ho confirmed a large source of magic power was being detected. From afar, he saw Kim Sang-hoo's team defeated, and wondered what the hell had happened at this magic stone mine. Sensing the abnormally excessive magic power, he frowned, realizing, "I knew it." Cracks began to appear in the sky above, signaling a terrifying event was about to begin. The cracks spread, tearing through space in an explosion of crimson energy. A colossal, sturdy gate appeared from nothingness, emitting a dazzling light. Immediately after, a horde of ferocious bull-headed monsters roared, pouring out from the gate. Amidst the chaotic battlefield, Kim Sang-hoo yelled, Damn it! Formation D, prepare for engagement. The giant boars are pouring in, he continued to command. The rest of you, block them from the outside. That's a level 6 great boar that has evolved into a combat form. At the same time, on another flank, Kim Manhwa braced himself, his Shikshin ability erupting from his hand. He unleashed a massive energy shield, halting the monster's furious assault. Returning to Kim Sang-hoo, he shot down like an arrow, yelling "I'm coming," to save a desperate teammate. The spearman landed powerfully, sending dust flying everywhere. He looked back with stunned eyes, roaring, "Are you crazy?" Without a second's hesitation, Kim Sang-hoo swept his spear horizontally, creating a storm of energy that swept away the monster. Even so, his face remained tense as he looked ahead, sensing an even greater danger. A dark cube hovered in the sky. He immediately recognized. The final boss has appeared. Prioritize saving the injured. The cube shattered, unleashing crimson lightning bolts that engulfed the entire battlefield. Kim Sang-hoo froze, seeing himself surrounded by a monster army many times larger. All around, his teammates were falling before the enemy's ferocity. Sweat pouring down, Kim Sang-hoo faced a captain's choice. I have to choose, he told himself. If I want to protect the remaining members and civilians, I must choose to provide rear support. But then, the image of blood-stained hands appeared in his mind. What about the teammates trapped at the front? Is choosing the majority the right thing to do? Clutching his spear shaft, he recalled a saying. Heroes say they regret every day. His eyes burned with inner turmoil. How much pain did they endure at the crossroads of life and death? It's disgusting. Looking at his blood-stained hands, he was honest with himself. Honestly, I just want to run away. But then, Cheon Tae-jung's voice echoed in his memory. Taking one step forward in times like these is what truly makes one strong. Inspired by the teachings of old, Kim Sang-hoo declared, I will become a true hero. A team member spotted an ally surrounded and shouted, I'll lead. Formation A, break through with force. Kim Sang-hoo charged forward alone, facing a sea of ferocious boar monsters. The spear in his hand flashed, unleashing a torrent of purple lightning that swept across the battlefield. The other members also charged, fighting valiantly amidst the enemy encirclement. But the monsters were too numerous. Kim Sang-hoo gasped for breath, feeling his mana nearing depletion. Just then, a blazing red cube appeared. The first boss had revealed itself, giving them no moment of rest. A teammate yelled a warning. Captain, the kingpin is charging. My teammates are behind me, Kim Sang-hoo muttered, standing firm as a rock to block the attack. He gritted his teeth, gripping his spear tightly. They keep coming. I'll crush them. With a roar, he poured all his remaining strength, determined to clear a path. I'll clear the way. He soared from above, plunging his lightning spear directly into the giant monster's head. A destructive vortex of purple energy erupted, tearing apart everything in sight. At the eye of the storm, Kim Sang-hoo stood tall. The battlefield had been cleared. His eyes now glowed purple, his face stained with blood but full of power. My power, it's overflowing. He realized with astonishment that he had surpassed his limits. He turned to command. No time for this. Treat the wounded. But a teammate stammered, interrupting. Captain. From the gate, a terrified voice cried out. Another kingpin is coming out. As a colossal, shadowy boar head emerged from the gate, Kim Sang-hoo spun around, eyes wide, frozen in disbelief at the incredible sight. Despair was quickly replaced by the captain's resolve. He growled, Damn it, prepare for full defense. Retreat to the rear when I give the signal. The second boss, the kingpin, let out an earth-shattering roar. A team member despaired. We just need to hold out. Reinforcements will come. But, his eyes shattered in panic. How long can we hold out? Suddenly, a figure appeared in midair, carrying a mysterious blue energy. The stranger turned, his sharp gaze locking onto the horde of monsters. Kim Sang-hoo's teammates were stunned by this unbelievable intervention. In a flash, the boar monsters were engulfed by the energy. In just an instant, they vanished without a trace. Kim Sang-hoo stood frozen amidst the battlefield, whispering, What the? The monsters had completely evaporated, leaving only scattered black fragments falling from the sky. He rushed to his teammate. Manhwa, can you get up? Kim Manhwa was helped up, responding confusedly. I'm fine. Aside from the burns, I'm okay. Kim Sang-hoo gripped his arm, ordering, We need to retreat now. Let's get out of this dungeon quickly. He helped his teammate escape. Even so, Kim Sang-hoo couldn't help but look back, trying to comprehend what had just happened. Elsewhere, on a high rock outcrop, the mysterious intervener looked down, wondering, What the hell just happened? He suddenly recalled someone's instruction. That reckless one, please continue to look after him. Sitting on the cliff, he mused. Consider this the price for saving your lives today. Meanwhile, Kim Sang-hoo turned to question Kim Manhwa. More importantly, you said you were level 2. The mysterious figure smiled. With this battle, he has reached the master class. Korea now has its 4th level 1 awakener. Kang Cheol-ho's stomach rumbled, signaling a gnawing hunger. Amidst the magnificent sunset, he decided, how about we eat first? He quickly built a roaring, vibrant fire. Sitting by the fire with Ekman Rex, Kang Cheol-ho remarked, the fire isn't big enough yet. Wait a moment. Ekman was astonished to see Kang Cheol-ho easily return, carrying a large armful of firewood. Meanwhile, Ekman Rex secretly wondered, just how strong is this guy? Really? When Kang Cheol-ho asked, Ekman startled and replied, oh, nothing. Kyul stared curiously at the dancing flames, muttering a single word, fire? Immediately, a brilliant magic circle was summoned by Kyul, making Ekman Rex panic. Kyul, what are you doing? From the circle, a beautiful water spirit appeared, extinguishing the fire with a cool rain. Kang Cheol-ho sighed in exasperation. I'll go get more firewood. Finally, the feast of grilled king boarbelly was lavishly laid out. Ekman Rex eagerly reached for a piece, but Kang Cheol-ho stopped him. Wait. He skillfully wrapped the meat with vegetables, explaining, this is called a meat wrap. The explosive deliciousness made Ekman Rex exclaim with utter satisfaction. After eating his fill, Ekman Rex asked, Khan, are you still investigating that dungeon? Kang Cheol-ho recounted. Today, at the Magic Stone Mine dungeon in Incheon, I saw a large horde of boars, all combat types. He mused, recalling the image of the ferocious monsters. They've become incredibly aggressive in just a few days, but when the spatial rift opened, Kang Cheol-ho revealed, that wasn't the energy of the Espan continent. He put forth a terrifying hypothesis. Perhaps Earth is connected to yet another dimension. A phenomenon beyond comprehension is occurring. 4 energy gates converging into one point. At the Korean Awakener Association headquarters, the aftershocks of the battle still lingered. President Yu Jinsu reviewed the report on the Incheon dungeon raid, exclaiming, truly astonishing. He informed Kim Sang-hoo, ever since that blinding light, the monsters have completely vanished, even the bosses. Gabby said the exact same thing, Yu Jinsu mused. What the hell happened, anyway? Then he smiled. In any case, congratulations. You've reached the realm of a job master, and are about to become Korea's 4th level 1 awakener. Kim Sang-hoo asked a very practical question. That's good news. Does my salary increase too? And received an affirmative answer. He sighed. But what's the point if I don't have time to spend it? Refusing the offer of leave, he only requested, please just make sure my team gets their rewards. When asked about his new profession, Kim Sang-hoo stated firmly, yes, I've chosen Steelheart. The Steelheart ability grants its owner 2 lives along with a dramatically increased defense. Once mastered, his entire body will become as hard as steel. He recalled the life or death moment facing the giant monster, determined not to let his teammates risk themselves like that again. Yu Jinsu nodded. A wise choice. Go rest. Gabi is already handling the mine investigation. I was just about to head back, old man. Kim Sang-hoo stood up, responding to the president's reminder with a jest. In the elevator, he fell into thought. That light held no malice. On the contrary, it gave me a warm feeling. Memories of the Belto incident flooded back. And he wondered, is this a mysterious force, or is someone helping us? He connected the events. The Belto incident and the Magic Stone Mine. Their commonality is an unprecedented power. Looking out at the night sky, he could only hope. For now, we can only pray that power never turns against us. The scene shifted abruptly. A barbecue party with soju was already laid out by a cozy fire. At the table, soju was poured, signaling a long night of heartfelt conversation. Ekman Rex raised his glass, calling out, Cheol-ho. By the flickering fire, he asked curiously, is the Demon King strong? Kang Cheol-ho took a sip of wine, casually replying, oh, of course, he's incredible, but I'm stronger. As the flames flared, the next question was posed. Do you hate the Demon King? And the answer was a confession. There was a time when I did. Memories flooded back. Kang Cheol-ho recounted. The people who helped me when I first arrived in that world were all slaughtered by the Demon King's army. He reminisced about the bloody years of war, where blood washed away blood. By the time the war ended, not a single friend remained by his side. His eyes burned with deep hatred. I hated the Demon King. He recalled the moment someone performed a summoning ritual, calling out King of the World. A winged entity carrying a giant scythe appeared, coldly asking, was it you who summoned me to this dimension? Those were the words of the Demon King, the one he once hated. Returning to reality, Kang Cheol-ho revealed a shocking truth. That day, the Demon King said he was also summoned by someone. Ekman Rex was stunned, and Kang Cheol-ho affirmed, literally summoned. Someone called him to the Espan continent. And someone also summoned me, he explained, leaving Ekman Rex astonished. To the question, so how did you get back? Kang Cheol-ho simply remained silent. He sank back into his memories of 10 long years wandering through the desolate world, searching for a way home. In the midst of despair, a spatial rift opened, revealing familiar modern buildings. I returned home through that path, he concluded his story. Hard to believe, right? But it's the truth. Ekman Rex looked directly at his friend, his gaze firm. I believe you. Ekman Rex looked directly at his friend, his gaze firm. I believe you, Chiolho. You've been through a lot, Ekman said sympathetically as Kang Chiolho stood up, lost in memories. He only replied with a tired smile. Not really. Both raised their glasses. Kang Chiolho began to open up. Yes, I still hate the Demon King, but at the same time, I pity him. Being thrown into an unfamiliar world is an unbearable loneliness. Sleep dragged him back to the dark past. Miro Lycas. I often have nightmares. They're usually about the war. Watching loved ones die, it hurts so much. It feels like nails are hammered into my heart every day. He recalled the moment he held his fallen comrade's body. Desperate screams echoed in his mind. Those nails are huge, and they hurt terribly. I had to rely on other things to survive, like alcohol. If I was drunk, at least, I could sleep. Looking down at the girl who had sacrificed herself in his arms, he told himself, if I weren't strong enough, I would have gone mad long ago. Or perhaps, I already am mad? Kang Chiolho woke with a start, drenched in sweat. Another nightmare, he panted, then felt a warmth on his chest. Huh? On his chest, Kuel was curled up, sleeping soundly, soft snores emanating. The tension on his face gradually melted away as he looked at the small creature. Ah, when did I roll over here and fall asleep? He wondered, gently patting Kuel. He glanced over, seeing Ekman Rex sound asleep in an odd posture. And he's sleeping in another strange position. A gentle smile appeared on his lips. Just a normal morning. Kang Chiolho walked down the stairs, ready for a new day. As he stepped outside, a surprising voice rang out. Young man. Kang Chiolho was surprised when an old woman called out to him. He asked, Do you mean me? The old woman asked for directions to the Arirang Express, making Kang Chiolho respond in confusion. Huh? He pondered about the strange train, while the old woman worried because no one knew the way. Muttering in despair, the old woman turned and walked away, leaving Kang Chiolho watching her go. Stepping inside, he still wondered about the Arirang Express and the strange encounter. Shaking off his wandering thoughts, Kang Chiolho decided it was time to open the shop. The restaurant space was quiet, ready for a new day. He began his preparations, carefully wiping down the sharp kitchen knife. Every corner of the bar was meticulously cleaned, reflecting the morning Sunday. The door opened, and a regular customer in a smart suit walked in. Boss! Good morning. The customer sat down at the counter, cheerfully asking about today's menu. Still preparing, so I can make a simple fried rice, Kang Chiolho replied, and the customer was satisfied. Suddenly, the first drops of seasonal rain began to fall outside the window. The customer looked outside, calmly remarking, It seems the rainy season has truly begun. Lost in cooking, Kang Chiolho muttered about a busy day ahead. As the fried rice was served, the customer suddenly remembered that Arirang Granny has been lingering around here lately. Hearing the strange name, Kang Chiolho asked again, and the customer began to explain about a woman who collects scrap. She's not quite lucid, the customer said, and Kang Chiolho confirmed he had met the old woman earlier. He recounted the question about the Arirang Express, but the customer just shook his head. No one knows. Looking at the plate of rice, the customer mused about the past, about the losses that had left many unable to recover. The customer left in the rain, leaving behind advice. It's best to just leave things as they are. Kang Chiolho watched him go, silently thinking about a world in a tumultuous period of change. The silhouette of the past warrior, Miro Lycas, overlapped his current image, a reminder that this world was built on scars. He realized that from the old woman to the customers, all were carrying their own emotional wounds. The next morning, Kang Chiolho started a new day as usual in the bathroom. Suddenly, a noisy sound made him rush outside to investigate. Before him was the sight of Ekman Rex enthusiastically cheering for Kuel, the baby dragon radiating a stream of emerald energy. The energy flickered out. Kuel spread her arms innocently while both men sighed, assuming the transformation attempt had failed. Does transforming also require a trick? Kang Chiolho asked curiously, and Ekman Rex explained that the first time is always the hardest. He gently picked up Kuel, who was already dressed in tiny clothes. Kang Chiolho thought to himself, as expected, she's quite big. When she fully transforms, she'll probably be about 5 years old. Just then, Kuel unexpectedly glowed again, stunning both men. Light enveloped her small body, and her clothes began to tear apart. Amidst the fragments of energy, Kuel appeared in the form of an adorable white-haired girl. Kang Chiolho was utterly speechless at this miraculous sight. The little girl toddled forward, extending her small hands towards him and babbling, Bappa, Bappa. Her tiny bare feet took their first steps on the floor. He gently lifted her chin, meeting her clear, determined gaze. Kuel flashed a radiant smile, revealing her cute fangs, and happily called out, Bappa. Kang Chiolho was still bewildered by Kuel's adorable human form. Ekman Rex cheered joyfully, lifting Kuel up. Kuel succeeded. he proudly boasted. She's never even been outside, and she's already transformed. Truly my little sister. Kang Cheol-ho immediately assigned, "You find clothes for Kyul to wear, I'll prepare the food." At the same time, outside, it began to pour rain. A white curtain of rain enveloped the deserted alley in front of the restaurant. The regular customer, having just left, muttered, "It keeps raining, and I have a little tenderloin left. I'll make sweet and sour pork." Kang Cheol-ho stepped out onto the porch, suddenly stopping when he saw a figure. A strange old woman approached, greeted him, and asked to shelter from the rain for a moment. Although invited inside, the old woman refused. "It's all right. When it rains, I have to hurry." Kang Cheol-ho thought to himself, "This old woman's voice is completely different from before." The old woman turned away, her eyes sharp, showing no sign of confusion. Seeing this, he offered his umbrella to her. "At least, please use this." The old woman thanked him, then suddenly asked, "Oh, do you sell black bean noodles?" Kang Cheol-ho turned back inside, replying, "Currently, I don't have the ingredients. Let me check." He stood silently in the kitchen, his gaze thoughtful, directed towards the door. In the distance, the old woman's back, pushing a cart, gradually disappeared into the rain. "How strange," Kang Cheol-ho muttered as he watched the figure disappear into the distance. The rain continued unabated. A warning appeared. "The rainy season is prolonged. Beware of water monster." The radio blared, explaining that the water monster Kelpie becomes many times stronger when it rains. "Boss!" Kim Hoon slammed his beer glass onto the table, shattering the silence. Slumped over the table, the young pilot, drunk, asked Kang Cheol-ho, "How do I impress a girl? Before I was summoned to another world, I only had one fleeting romance," Kim Hoon confessed in his drunken state. He recalled 2 years ago, when a hidden boss appeared and Lee Gabby saved his life, making him realize that his ideal type was a strong woman. "Strong women are so captivating," he mumbled. "They're cool, they're beautiful." And Kang Cheol-ho quietly replied, "I understand, because I was once like that too." Kang Cheol-ho thought to himself, his gaze distant. For a moment, the image of Miro appeared, the strongest, gentlest, and most beautiful woman in his memories. Back in reality, Kim Hoon continued his one-sided love story. "Since then, I've secretly loved her, but she's too sharp." "Are you talking about the person who was with you last time?" Kang Cheol-ho asked, making Kim Hoon jump and vehemently deny. "She's more like my mom. I like women who treat me roughly." He shivered, imagining Lee Gabby getting angry and threatening to tear him apart if he kept following her. Then when I asked her who her ideal type was, she said it was Kim Sang-hoo. Kim Hoon slumped onto the table in despair. Kang Cheol-ho just smiled faintly in relief. "This is an absolute secret, you know." "Boss, another glass of beer, please." Kim Hoon lifted his head, just as the radio news caught both their attention. Construction at the Resting Place Memorial in northern Seodaemun is underway. Kang Cheol-ho froze, his eyes sharpening. "What is the Resting Place Memorial?" he asked. Kim Hoon replied, "Ah, it's a cemetery for victims from the past." He further explained that because too many people died and their bodies couldn't be recovered, they were cremated and their names engraved on a communal tomb. Kang Cheol-ho nodded, his face thoughtful as he understood the situation. Just then, the restaurant door opened. A figure stepped in and greeted. "Welcome." Kim Hoon staggered in, smiling as he recognized the familiar place. Suddenly, a thunderous slap landed. Lee Yuna grabbed him by the collar, her eyes blazing. "Drinking again, you bastard." She dragged the drunkard away, ignoring his mumbling, and said, "Stop making a scene and come with me." Her eyes were still blazing with anger. Being dragged away, Kim Hoon still tried to turn back and thank him, leaving Kang Cheol-ho to watch with a sympathetic gaze. Under the pouring rain, Lee Yuna held an umbrella for both of them. Impatiently, she created an energy field to silence him, making Kang Cheol-ho secretly wonder, "Is that the Blade Queen?" Once they were out of sight, Kang Cheol-ho began cleaning up, his mind full of questions. He recalled the girl's words. Kelpie have appeared in the city center. They are especially ferocious. Looking out at the rainy night, an ominous premonition crept into his mind. The rain still poured outside the window, washing over the city. In the kitchen, a small sound echoed. Kyul was trying to open the refrigerator. "This child is down here to steal ingredients again." Kang Cheol-ho smiled, gently picking her up. Kyul giggled, calling Papa, her small dragon tail wagging behind her. The little girl suddenly grew pensive. Someday Kyul will return to the S-Band continent too, but then she immediately brightened up, proudly pointing at her tail. Kang Cheol-ho hugged her tightly, silently vowing to create many beautiful memories until that day. Suddenly, the sound of the front door opening made him jump and turn around. Kang Cheol-ho instructed Kyul to stay quiet, blaming himself for letting his guard down. An elderly woman walked in, and Kang Cheol-ho breathed a sigh of relief as he recognized the regular customer. The elderly woman asked about the black bean noodles, and Kang Cheol-ho invited her in, saying it would take a little while. Noticing that the elderly woman's tone and demeanor were completely different from last time, Kang Cheol-ho began to grow suspicious. He quietly activated his detect eye to check. The results showed the elderly woman was 100% a civilian, not an awakener, but her status was amnesia. He thought bitterly of the shattered souls after the tragedy, wounds that even otherworldly magic couldn't heal. If it were possible, perhaps he himself wouldn't be having nightmares every night. Deciding to use his cooking skills to comfort her, he went into the kitchen, not expecting the elderly woman to suddenly cry out in surprise. Kyul's clear eyes looked up, full of curiosity. The little dragon girl had stepped out on her own with an innocent expression. The elderly guest was stunned, unable to believe her eyes. To her astonishment, Kyul toddled closer, wagging her small tail. Kang Cheol-ho broke out in a cold sweat, the situation completely out of his control.